It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at ArizonaSports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Big meltdown last night as the Diamondbacks fall to the Pirates. They're going to go at it right now. They are playing at Chase. Zach Gallen. Big game for him. What do you call it, a meltdown?
I would absolutely call it a meltdown.
Big meltdown.
Big meltdown.
Biggest meltdown of the year?
I would say one of the biggest meltdowns in the last couple of years.
Bit.
You think back, maybe this year there was one other. You gave up the 6-0 lead. You lose, 14-12.
Right.
But this one with your ace on the mound, and you're up 6-0. He gives up a dinger, 6-2, comes out of the game, no big deal. And then from they give up those 7 runs in one inning, just unfathomable. And Ginkel seems to be the guy that's the culprit of giving up these large leads and moving on.
He does not perform at a high level. When
No.
it's a high-level situation, he struggles. I don't trust him.
I thought that he was going to be the guy coming out of the bullpen when the season began, to be honest with you, because he did look pretty sharp the first few games that we saw him. But you are correct in your assessment that since that time, things have not gone well for him, and he has given up run after run after run.
When you give credit to the Pirates, give credit in the moment.
Well, you have
Or
to.
is it a bullpen meltdown, no matter what?
Well,
it's really
no,
one guy.
It's a combination.
I mean,
It
you
really
bring
is.
Beeks in right after,
Yeah.
immediately after, and then he gives up the
Right.
big one.
Exactly.
It just seems like this is the same story. However, here's the difference. In the world we live in, the way that the news cycle works is Zach Gallen could go off today and pitch a gem, and then we're all fine. We're fine. Everything will be fine tomorrow.
Well, you would hope. I mean, you guys.
that's the thing about baseball. It's a 24-hour cycle, whereas the NFL, it's 6-7 days.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I'm not getting all butthurt as listening to some of the other stations right now as they're talking about this. That, oh my gosh, Torey Lovello, I mean, they need to fire him this is a must-win game. Shut the hell up.
No,
this is not a must-win game.
I think we have to realize, guys, these are still major league hitters. I don't care whether
They are.
They are. I mean, you look at. I mean, you basically look at Davis homers. Basically, that's been one of the, I would say, culprits for Burns, is he does hang him out, like Fernandez in the Dodgers one. That was one
bad pitch. Though.
Yeah. So he had one bad pitch last night, 6-2. You still got 4-run
pitched
lead.
Great. He's having a great year.
My point is, no matter how good your pitchers, these still are major league hitters. If you make a mistake,
So you give Pirates credit then.
yeah, absolutely, I give them credit.
So it's not a meltdown.
No, I would say I would say a meltdown in the sense of, my feeling is, if you're having Ginkel struggles after 2 or 3 batters, yank him.
Well,
Yank him.
Lavello was asked that. Lavello was asked that afterwards, and he said, "No, I was going to ride him for a little bit because I thought that he was going to work himself out of it." Well, obviously, he didn't, and we know what happened.
We need Sewald back. Paul Sewald. Bring him back.
Seawald, wow.
Bring him back.
Are you drunk? Are you?
No, we're at the taco spot.
You have a
No,
couple
they don't even
tequila
serve. They
shots.
don't
Shut
have
up
any alcohol here.
Here's the
Hey,
thing.
let's time out. What's going on back there, Connor? Will you just tell us what's going on? Where you need help there? Just say it on the air. It's fine.
Let's say it on the air. If I can get Jimmy up just a little bit, it sounds like Jimmy's getting a little further away from his mic.
All right,
Well,
there you
he's short.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The microphone's kind of far away from him. There.
I'm standing on a stool.
Yeah,
Is that better now?
We are at the Taco Spot, which is located at 59th Avenue and Thunderbird for the re-grand opening. It was a good segue. We are giving you an opportunity to win some tickets to see the D-backs on June 14th at Chase Field as they take on the San Diego Padres. Also, we are giving away a food platter from the Taco Spot. And the only way that you can enter, at least right now, we may change this, is you need to check out their Instagram page. So go to the Taco Spot, follow them. Also follow Lerner and Rowe, which of course is one of our big sponsors. The girls here, they're jumping on it right now. They want tickets to Diamondbacks, as well as the big platter that will be given away. So we're going to announce it around 3:45 today. So somebody will win this today.
Okay.
So and tag a friend so you can bring them to the game. So there it is now. So is everybody okay now, Connor?
Sounds good by me, guys.
Good,
Thanks.
good. As long as we got your approval there. All right. So we are out here. So it's a street taco party platter and 2 tickets for the D-backs. And so this is a good spot. Check it out. Grand reopening. So, also some other news. Suns coaching search continues. Sounds like at least Gambo's got it down to 3. Some other pundits got it down to 4. It's getting close. I think we're about a week away. No rush. There's really no rush.
No.
Maybe it is going to be, somebody maybe that's on Oklahoma City. I mean, other than that, but it seems like Chris Quinn, who's the Miami assistant, Johnny Bryant, and Jordan Knott, both with the Cleveland Cavaliers, are the 2 other names that are been tossed around. So it's really those are 3 names that seem to be getting the most play. Sean Sweeney as well.
Yeah, Sean Sweeney in Dallas. That's the other one. So I have it down to 4. If I had to make a selection right now, I would really take a real hard look at Chris Quinn in Miami.
Seems like he's the leader in the clubhouse. Fans want him.
Well, he's a former player.
That's probably why.
Okay. He is playing for a team that won championships. He is playing for a coach in Eric Spoelstra, who, even though does not have great talent, still found a way to get Miami into the NBA playoffs.
Into that, Matthew, that's a key for this Suns organization.
There. Yes, for me it is.
Who he's learned under the tutelage.
Yes.
You mentioned former player, and to learn how to win with less, which he has.
Yeah.
A couple years ago with Jimmy Butler, they go to the finals.
Yes.
I mean, go figure, the Eastern Conference Finals. But I think that you look at that, I think that they're all more than qualified. At this point in the interview process, I think, do the philosophies match up? Let us know how you would handle this or handle that. And that's why I like the interview process, or a guy comes back for another interview or has another Zoom call, that they can only qualify so much to that point. So
how do you know it's a Zoom call? It could be Teams.
Look, they mentioned that. Well, they mentioned that they've been doing Zoom calls.
Oh, okay.
They mentioned that they've been doing in-person interviews.
Do you know what a team call is there, Jimmy?
Have
you ever been on a Teams call?
I've been on a conference call. Is that the same thing?
Well, it's the
2025
it's conference call. Yeah.
So does
Teams
it mean
is through like Google.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's on your calendar. So if you have a Google account, you would be on Teams.
I write everything down
and then
on my calendar.
Zoom would be something different.
I think, but the one thing, take their time, make sure they feel good about the guy, and then I think if the philosophies match up, and here's what we'd like to see, can you live with this? Can we live with that? I think there's got to be that two-way street with both of them. But I also think a coach can't be afraid to push back on his philosophy or where he wants to go with this team.
I know, I guess the last 2 coaches, 3 coaches, 4 coaches that all had experience didn't fare well. Maybe this is the route they're going because they want to get an inexperienced coach.
They won NBA titles.
They all had, right? Vogel and then, Coach Bud. But
yep.
I just don't know. I guess the players, coaches, maybe the new way of doing things. I just would like to see a guy that has experience in there. I need somebody in there that's going to be disciplinary.
I was going to say, Ron,
because it seems like these it's a league that's run by the players, and that can't continue to go on. And until you get a coach in there that can put his foot down and basically tell that player to sit on the end of the bench, go run laps, do whatever you need to do, but have some disciplinarian.
Yeah, but you had Budenholzer do that, and you
saw
that it didn't work.
Though.
You saw it didn't work when he told Devin Booker to shut the hell up and don't talk so much. We saw that.
Yeah.
You saw he got into it with Kevin Durant on the sidelines. We've already had that, and it didn't work.
All right, so let me ask you this. A Chris Quinn or a Johnny Bryant or a Jordan Knott, could you go and could you get in Kevin Durant's face?
I think at times,
you can't. Let's just be realistic.
I think at times guys need. My whole thought is, okay, how do you hold these guys accountable? To your point, what do you do to discipline them? And you can't be afraid to get in a guy's grill. I mean, JJ Redick got in LeBron's grill several times this year, and Luka as well. I mean, you can't be afraid to do that. Now, if it's called for, and you pull a guy off the side and say, "Hey, KD," and you don't show him up, I think you do it on the bench or whatever. I think that's a whole different way. But you can't be afraid to get in a guy's grill just because he's KD or just because he's Devin Booker. I think everybody is not suspect to not being accountable to the team. And I think that's what this organization is looking for, is a guy that you can love him, you can discipline him, you can hold him accountable. That's why I think philosophies are so important to enmesh with this organization.
What do you think the biggest challenge in this organization has been in the last few years?
Winning.
One word.
Winning.
All right. Okay. Aside from winning,
accountability,
close.
Responsibility,
closer. Culture.
Okay.
Culture has been the knock on this organization for quite some time, on and off the court. I mean, you got a black cloud over this this team and this ownership.
They got
This
lots
is
of
like,
problems.
I mean, it's like Michael Bidwell sitting back saying, "Oh, good,
Yeah.
oh, it's the Suns now, not
The
me."
last time we had culture in that locker room was when Monty Williams was here, and CP3 was the leader in the clubhouse, so to speak. The only issue was DA was one of the malcontents at times, but it seemed as though I don't know why they gave up on Monty so quickly. And then at that point, things seemed to get awry from within that locker room. So has that changed? And can a coach change that? I think his philosophy has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I think philosophy is going to have. I don't know. I just I'm hoping it's going to be a guy that that can light a match under these guys.
I'm listening to this conversation with you and Manuch, Rock.
Good.
And
At least we got one listener.
Yeah, that's true. And
Glad you're paying attention, Jimmy.
No, not really. But because what it tells me is that you
Clifford
believe
Brake.
that Kevin Durant is still going to be here. Because,
Yeah,
because your reference is, well, can he get in Durant's face? That's
Well,
your reference. So you believe
Yeah, I
that
guess
they're
maybe
not
I
gonna trade him.
maybe I misspoke. I meant in the sense of talking to a veteran. I should have said a veteran instead of KD or a superstar like KD.
No, because
however,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Durant stays.
And I said that yesterday on the show.
Did you really?
I did. Yes, I still.
He actually made a good point yesterday, Rock. He nailed it.
I was listening all day to just didn't listen to that
Didn't hear
130
that.
seconds.
You missed that one.
You missed that one.
I think the
yesterday.
point is, I think the point Rock's made. Can he get into a star, veteran?
I
Can he get into his face if he has
Go back to the Durant thing with you, Jimmy. I mean, there is that good possibility that he could stay, but there's also a good possibility to go. I think we just got to get the finals, and I think it's whatever happens with Giannis, and then the dominoes will fall.
Yes, I agree
if
with
the
that.
Giannis thing wasn't out there, I think there'd be more talk about KD.
I agree with that.
The big
Giannis is the guy.
free agent deals or trade or whatever it's going to be, it's going to be him. No
Yeah.
question about it. All right, coming up next, it's our replay rewind. We got the Diamondbacks locker room sound after last night's loss. They're down 1-0 in the third right now. Plus, not one, but two walk-offs in Major League Baseball. The Yelich Grand Slam. And Charles Barkley, he's weighing in on SGA versus Ant-Man. And he's picking sides in the NHL East Finals. How about that? So that's all coming up next. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. We're live from the Taco Spot in Glendale right here on ESPN 620.
Now back to the guys live from one of the over 20 taco spots. Discover the best tacos in town, fresh and flavorful. The Taco Spot. For a location near you, head to tacospotaz.com. Now, it's time for our replay rewind. The top sounds of the night and
Sorry, Manuch and I thought we'd try this for the first one, see how it sounds.
play rewind with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on E
Coming to you guys here.
and on FM at 98.7 HD2.
WTF, Manuch? Jeez. Welcome, Taco Fanatic.
Oh, thank you. Wow. What I do now, man?
Gotcha.
What are you doing?
Gotcha.
Woo, let me think here.
All right, let's get to it. Our replay rewind here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Let's go to locker room. Lavello talking about Burns and the setup to the bullpen last night.
Yeah, this game started well enough, right? You got Corbin going out there and just dialing it up and getting it done, and gives you 7 unbelievable innings of two runs, and you feel like you're just totally controlling the climate of the game because of what he's doing. He was effective with his cutter. We pressed him a little bit to finish out 7th inning. I thought he did a fantastic job. At that point, you turn it over to a bullpen with what you feel like is very favorable matchups, and they just didn't execute. They didn't get it done.
You think, you sit there and go, okay, after it got tied up, at that point, you make the move, you would think. I know that here it is, all 6-6, and Reynolds comes up and just crushes one. You get two more runs, get the 3-run home run. After the second hit with Ginkel, I'm not going to waste any time for a game like this against the Pirates because, again, as I mentioned, these guys are major league hitters. If you make a mistake, they'll take a yard. And then Reynolds, you look at Falifa and Reynolds both just crushed him. So at that point, if his ball's not moving or it's down or whatever, you got to make the move, and it's tied up. At that point, you got to go to the next guy to get 2 more outs at that point.
Managerial decisions have changed dramatically over the last 5 years due to all of the analytics and everything. But there was a guy in Cincinnati, and his nickname was Captain Hook, and that was Sparky Anderson.
Sure.
And to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind right now if the skipper, Torrey, decided to become a little Captain Hook, because I think they need that right now, this team, meaning the Diamondbacks, because they are struggling in the pen. And you got to have 2 guys up going at the same time, because if the first guy falters, as Manuch just mentioned, with the first few batters, then you got to go get that second guy. The analytics say no, but screw the analytics.
I think that's a very good point. I would agree. I mean, I do like to see him. I loved Sparky Lyle, man. He was great.
Sparky Anderson.
Sparky Lyle, the pitcher.
He was a hell of a pitcher, too.
He was.
But let's continue that thought process, Jimmy,
Okay.
after you hear what he said about this team playing 70% right, 30% confused.
It looks like we play probably 70% of the game the right way, and the other 30% we play confused baseball. That's what happens. And it's not just one area or one aspect. I can't be very, very critical of the starting pitching. I think it's been pretty darn good. There's certain areas. Tonight, the defense broke down a little bit. The relief pitching broke down a little bit. Our situational hitting broke down a little bit. We let that guy off the hook a couple of times, or starting pitcher a couple of times early in the game. We might not be sitting here talking about the same things, and I wouldn't be as frustrated as I am if we did some of those things early in the game. Everything's targeting Kevin Ginkel right now, understandably so. But there was 5 or 6 things that happened in this game that we got to tighten up. And when we do that, that's going to be D-back baseball. And I want us to play 9 innings. I'm looking for 100% of the baseball game to be played the right way.
Okay, if they're confused, that's on the manager. I mean, that's on the skipper. You got to be crystal clear on defensive situations, where to go with the ball, base running situation. You had the 1 error, which really cost him as far as the big inning. But if there's confusion, I'm like, why is there confusion? I can understand if they beat you with the bats and their pitching. But as far as field play, confusion as far as where to go with the ball, the situation that they have, then they need to have a meeting in that clubhouse to make sure everybody's on the same page. I mean, here we are, a third of the season in. There shouldn't be any confusion at all. Did they miss a sign? Why'd you miss a sign? You're at first base. I mean, there's those kind of things, those mental errors have got to be eliminated a third of the season through. And typically, spring ball, you have to put those to rest. Now, your first couple, 2-3 weeks might have some indiscrepancies, but we're a third of the way through, guys. This should be completely done. That should not happen.
One of the things that I found interesting that he said when he was mentioning confusion is that he's taking the hit himself for the team.
As he should.
And
As he should.
so he is taking that hit.
Mhm.
You don't need to do that. You don't. Your team did that to you. You made the moves. You can only do so much as a manager. You brought in the people at the time to pitch that you thought could get those final outs, and it didn't work. So if it didn't work, which takes me back to what Manuch said, why don't you bring in somebody else? Because analytics said don't do that. That's why.
All right, move on to some walk-offs as we continue our rewind. The Cubs, they've been in first place in the National League Central for most of the season, and their offense has been humming. Here is their rookie, Matt Shaw, with a walk-off in the 10th last night.
The other way, a little flyer. Birdie around third. Matt Shaw, your hero. Ball game. Cubs win. There's your blooper to right. Walk it off. The celebration. And we sing the song.
You know, when you hear someone say Cubs win, do you expect to hear another Cubs win, like old Harry Carey? I mean, that's the first thing I thought. I'm like, all right, is he going to say it again? You know? One more. Christian Yelich, surprisingly, has never had a walk-off home run.
Amazing.
This was a grand slam yesterday. This is courtesy of FanDuel, Wisconsin.
Fly ball. It is one. First career walk-off home run for Yelich. It is grand.
I never would have known that he did not have
I didn't either.
walk-off.
They made that a point last night on SportsCenter, and then
That was
again this
nuts.
morning. And again, I would have liked to heard Bob Uecker on that one.
Yeah, I would have
God
too.
bless the guy.
Yes.
What a great guy. What a great announcer and just an icon in the baseball world, especially in Milwaukee. The Chuckster, Charles Barkley. There's all this talk about SGA being the face of basketball, as well as Ant-Man Anthony Edwards. Here's what Charles thinks about that.
OKC is the best team in the NBA. I've been telling y'all that for 2 months. Hey, ESPN, I love you guys. Don't try to make Anthony Edwards the face of the NBA. The face of the NBA is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Joker, and Giannis. You can't give it to people. They have to take it. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is taking it.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I would agree.
I would agree.
I'm with you.
I mean, see those guys back to back, especially after the 42-point win Timberwolves had. You saw Ant-Man come out and get shut down by Dort. I mean, he looked lethargic, and SGA is just kind of steady as he goes with a lot of the things and keeping that superstar type of status.
Charles, we all know he gambles. He's been on our show quite a bit from the casino when we were doing our show out at the casino.
It's great to have him.
Yeah.
He bets everything and anything. Now I think he's over at DraftKings quite a bit. But here he is predicting the Canes were going to win Game 5.
There you go.
Oh, man. Hey,
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
the second half to get to.
Let me tell you something. Shout out to the Hurricanes coming back last night after being down 3-0. Now we're going back to Carolina. And let me tell you something. They're going back to Sunrise because the Hurricanes are going to win tomorrow, win tonight. Who's leading the series? We're going back to Sunrise 3-2. Okay.
Well, it's 3-1 right now, so we'll see what happens
tonight,
there.
yeah.
Last night, Edmonton Oilers, they took a commanding 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals with a decisive win over the Dallas Stars. Real quick, a lot of talk in golf about some players not talking to the media. Rory McIlroy didn't talk to the media at the PGA Championship, and Golf Digest was sitting down with the great one, Jack Nicklaus, and here is what he had to say, his thoughts about players not talking to the media.
Well, I'm not going to talk for Roy or anybody else. I'll talk for myself. I've always felt that you guys have a job to do, and gals, and that for you to do your job, you need to talk to me. And whether I played well or whether I played poorly, if you still want to talk to me, I'll talk to you. And I always have.
Love Jack.
he wasn't talking to Rory, but he was talking to Rory.
He was.
That was a shot across the bow.
You
Whether
think
it's good
so?
or, oh, absolutely, Rock. Absolutely. Take that shot across the bow.
I don't think
Good.
he doesn't come across as being a guy like that.
No, I know, but I mean, by him, what he just said is whether it's good or bad, my job is to talk to you because you have a job. That was a little subtle shot at Roy. Hey, look, Roy, if it's all good, you're talking. If it's not good, you're not talking.
No, that's not true.
Talk to the media one way all the time.
Because McElroy has done very well for the most part with the media. We don't know if he felt ill or if he was just so angry he decided, I don't want to talk to
Clear to
anybody.
toss,
Get
clear
the
to
hell
toss.
out of here. But he normally, meaning Rory McIlroy, normally speaks to the media.
I don't know about
one
that.
to talk.
He didn't talk last year when he lost the
Yeah.
U.S. Open against.
No, you're
against
right
Bryson
about
DeChambeau.
you're right about
He
that.
didn't talk.
So I
But he is also the first person everybody goes to talk.
sure.
Yes.
For the PGA.
And I just
He's
think,
been the guy that's been at the face with the whole battle with Liv.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
and I think
Give the guy a break.
it's just kind of a reminder. I think it's Jack's just a little reminder. Hey guys, look, guys and gals, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, your job it's part of your job. It really is.
Today's replay rewind is brought to you by our friends at Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck, need a check, make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900 and always at lernerandrowe.com. All right, next we'll catch up with Suns radio analyst Tim Kempton as he breaks down the Eastern and Western Conference playoffs. But first, here's Jax with your Taco Spot ESPN 620 update.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's from the Taco Spot on ESPN 620 update. I'm Jackson Groff. Let's update you on the Pirates Diamondbacks 1-1 in the series so far. Top of the fourth inning, 2 outs. The Pirates lead 1-0 with a man on third. Paul Skeens, 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, has 5 strikeouts already, while Zach Allen, on the other hand, just 1 K and 1 earned run. We'll keep you updated to that game.
30 seconds.
Throughout the show as well. Davis singled to left for the Pirates in the top of the second inning, and which brought in Hortwitz to score for the Pirates. The Taco Spot, your go-to for big flavor and easy catering. Feeding a crowd, try
15.
the street taco platter. 64 tortillas, 4 pounds of meat, rice, and beans. Perfect for 10 to 12 people. Or try the burrito platter. 6 big burritos, cut and ready to serve, including chips, whether it's game day or lunch time. The Taco Spot has you covered.
Twin Peaks. It's time for the Cocoa 5 Suns Hardwood Report. Remember, Cocoa 5 is your go-to electrolyte-packed active hydration drink, perfect for athletes and active individuals of all levels and ages. Whether you're hitting the court or working out in the gym, Cocoa 5 helps you stay hydrated and ready to perform at your best. You can grab it at Fry's, Sprouts, Target, Walmart, and at cocoa5.com. Now let's jump right into the latest updates and highlights with the Suns.
Halliburton. They went with McBride on Halliburton and now switching everything. 7 o'clock at 3. Halliburton for 3. But that was deep, but Brunson backed up. Anticipating.
All right, Halliburton, 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, and 0 turnovers. First ever turnover-free triple-double in playoff history. Tim Kempton now joins us. So, Tim, does this officially make him a superstar? Is he pretty much there?
Well, he's definitely stepping up, and the brightest lights are on, and that's when you want you want your biggest stars to do it. So he came into the league with a lot of fanfare, kind of developed into this player. Wasn't as good when he first got here. A lot of people were like questioning him, and then obviously in a smaller market of Indiana, doesn't get as much publicity as the other guys that came out with him and have been in the league, but he seems to be playing very well for him right now. So he's a star and a superstar in the making if he keeps on doing this in the playoffs and the championship series.
Is there anyone you can compare him to? A guy that has a turnover-free triple-double, that style of play. Is there anyone that comes to mind?
I don't know. I mean, he takes care of the ball, which is always very nice. That was one of the things that the Suns were looking for when they went out and got Tyus, is because he's so good at not turning the ball over at that point guard position, because it's been such a struggle for the Suns. So to have him have those kind of numbers with the kind of pressure and the way the whistle is being blown in the playoffs is pretty impressive. It shows his composure. It shows his his mental toughness in regard to the game, and just the physical attributes of understanding what the defense is doing, what they're trying to take away from him, and just being solid passing the ball as well and handling it.
Well, I think also, Tim, when you watch him defensively, he may not get enough credit. He had 4 steals last night, but I think that may be one of the more underrated sides of his game, because I think the offensive side is so much more profound.
Yeah, he does a real nice job. Again, he's got some length, so he kind of goads you into a pass, and then his length, he steps in and takes it away, and they're just really connected right now. So not only is it him coming up with the steal, but it's the way Indiana as a group is playing defense that's forcing the Knicks back on their heels to make poor decisions. So his steals are the byproduct not only of his defense, but the defense that Indiana's playing as a whole, as a group, as a team.
Tim Kempton's our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Timmy, Rick Carlisle had won a NBA title with Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas. Then he takes the Indiana Pacers job, and here we are today. One of the things that I particularly noticed, and please explain to everybody if you see this as well, when you talked about the defense of the Pacers, the way that they quickly double team against Brunson right at midcourt, and they try to force the ball out of his hand and try to get the Knicks out of their offensive rhythm immediately. Have you seen that as well?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about teams pressuring here in the playoffs. It's hard to do on an 82-game schedule. You just, the back-to-back situations night after night of playing. But in a postseason, when you've got the same people that you're going up against, and you can devise a plan, and if they don't make changes to it, that's what everybody talks about in the postseason, is who's going to make adjustments. And right now the Knicks aren't making adjustments to it. They don't have someone else bringing the ball up so Brunson can catch it on the move and score after they get it over half court. They're so, he's so much needs the ball in his hands, not only as the Knicks as a team, but for his own confidence, for the own way that he plays. He doesn't like being off the ball. So right now Indiana's making him pay for it, and and really shutting him down. And that's another example of this situation. I think last night it was 29-17 in the assist category. And it's right now you look at both series. You look at Minnesota. That's Randall and Anthony Edwards. In the Knicks series, it's Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson for the teams that are on the back side of it right now. Those guys are more isolation teams where Oklahoma City as well as Indiana, they're more of a move the ball, get everybody involved. Tonight it could be your night if the shot, if the Knicks happen to be giving someone open shots. So I think that plays into it as well, is that the Knicks are so dependent on Jalen Brunson with the ball, and Indiana's making them, as you said, uncomfortable as soon as he gets to the half-court line.
He's Tim Kempton here on ESPN 620. All right, let's turn the page over to the Western Conference. What's wrong with Anthony Edwards, or is this the Anthony Edwards that we're going to see? Seems like there's been so much.
Yeah, first of all, you got to give credit to Oklahoma City. That's another thing that I think the difference between both series is Oklahoma City and Indiana have deeper teams. When we were talking about Minnesota a couple of weeks ago playing against the LA Lakers, it was Minnesota that had the deeper team. They went, 6, 7, maybe 8. But now you go to this series and it's Oklahoma City over Minnesota. Oklahoma City has 8, 9, 10, where Minnesota's only got that 8. So there's more depth. There's more physicality. There's more players that they're able to throw at Anthony Edwards. Obviously, you start with Luguentz Dort, who is, just as strong. You don't find many people as strong as Anthony Edwards at that position, but he's looking at a guy that's probably physically more capable than himself. Obviously, he's athletic, but Luguentz Dort is just as strong, just as big, and if not stronger than Anthony Edwards. So I think the physical toll is taking it a little bit away from Anthony Edwards. And again, they're not getting any easy buckets. They have to come down and fight through, an offense, a defense that's set up and waiting for them. They're not getting enough easy buckets. And then in essence, they turned the ball over. Oklahoma City, I think, was the best team in the league, scoring off of turnovers this year. So they're not getting easy buckets, and the defense is really making Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. Julius Randle in that series really work for what they get, and it's just physically taxing on him, and I think it's showing up in his numbers at the end of the game.
All right, Tim, the head coaching search for the Suns. I know you don't have a say in it, but there's some pretty big names, assistant coaches that are out there. Do you like the route they're going down this road with assistant coaches?
Yeah, I think they're taking their time. Obviously last year they had one guy in mind, and they went after him and got it done a lot quicker. Obviously, you have a new GM, so Brian Gregory's going about it in a different way, taking more of his time, interviewing guys, seeing what's out there, seeing what he knows about one guy, seeing, finding out something that he doesn't know about one or two guys. And I think there's still a couple of guys that are involved in the playoff series that they'd like to talk to, sitting on some of the benches of these last 4 teams. So I think that has something to do with it as well.
And with all that being said, Tim, it will be all about the culture, the philosophy, or somebody that can stand up to whatever stars are remaining on this team.
Yeah, I think all those things are going to be talked about. I think, that the roster could be ever changing, before and after they hire a coach. Obviously, I think it's still centered around Devin Booker, which I am totally fine with. I think Devin has shown that, and because of his age. Obviously, there's also the salary cap situation that they have to deal with. So there's a lot to be talked about, and questions answered from both sides. I mean, that new coach coming in wants to know what Brian Gregory's going to do, in regard to the roster. You know, who am I going to have to play
Clear to toss.
with the salary cap? So I think there's questions to be answered on both sides of the table in that interview process, without a doubt.
Tim, I'll leave you with this. What percentage would you put on KD returning?
On who returning?
KD, Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I'm just a percentage.
Like 50%, 60%, he'll come back. I mean, you can't go wrong with 50. You're safe there.
You know what? Usually I'm a little bit more vocal, but I'm going to take the easy way out and go 50-50 on you guys.
Okay. That high, huh,
he's a vet.
Yeah,
he gets it. He's a pro. I get it. I bet you would.
No, I think it goes along with that last question you asked as to who's the coach, you know, and what those conversations are with Brian Gregory and when they narrow that coaching search down. You know, do you have a coach that goes, hey, listen, I'm fine with you dealing Kevin Durant. Hey, listen, if I'm your guy, I'd really like to see Kevin Durant stay here. I think those are the questions that are still out there to be answered and asked again by both sides. And that's why I think having the coach be part of that decision making is so important. And that's why I think it's getting stretched out, because they're still waiting on guys that are on benches in the playoffs. So I really do think it's 50-50 for those reasons.
Tim, always appreciate your time, man. Have a good week. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
That's Tim Kempton, brought to you by Coco 5. He's a part of our Son's Hardwood Report. Check it out at grocery stores around the country. That's Coco 5 and online at coco5.com. Coming up, Clay hits 11 threes. Willie Mays goes yard for the first time, plus the Big 12's eyes on the Pacific Coast. And Terry Bradshaw's not holding back on Aaron Rodgers. We're going to get into all that next right here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
tacos in town, fresh and flavorful. The Taco Spot. For a location near you, head to tacospotaz.com.
Yeah, classic rock gunslinger Rick Derringer died on Memorial Day. He was 77. No cause of death was announced, but he passed away in Florida with his wife by his side. You heard two of his big songs. Of course, the McCoys' Hang On Snoopy, which is the theme song for the Buckeyes. That went number 1 in 1965. And Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo from 1973. It's been involved in a lot of other stuff as well. So thoughts and prayers to the rock legend there. All right, on this day in 2016, Klay Thompson set an NBA playoff record. He hit 11 three-pointers as the Warriors had a comeback win over the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 6 of the Western Conference. That was a huge performance, and that performance helped the Warriors force a Game 7. Ultimately, they got to the NBA Finals. Willie Mays recorded his first major hit today, a home run, while playing for the New York Giants, and the National League approved in 1957 the relocation of the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Giants to the West Coast, of course, California, and L.A. and San Francisco.
Didn't Willie go 0 for 24, start his major league career?
Yeah.
Finally connected, or is the first 24 games or something like that. But he was, that phenom. They were like, hey, Willie, anytime now. And you got to go with that home run and never look back.
On the stage, presented by G2G and our G2G protein bars. You can find them in the refrigerator section at Costco and online at G2GBar.com. Always free shipping on orders over $50. First timers get 15%. Just head to G2GBar.com. All right, football at 50. Some stories that we are following today. One is the Big 12 exploring expansion into the Pacific time zone again. SDSU, San Diego State University, and UNLV. Big 12 Conference is not actively pursuing the expansion right now. However, they are making some plans down in the future because right now you look at San Diego State, they are looking at being in the Pac-12 Conference here in about a year or two, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So they're not going in. I mean, they're going to stick around here at least for another couple years. And UNLV, same thing. They got invited to the Pac-12, and they may jump. They declined that offer to go to the Mountain West.
They did. I think you have to stay aggressive if you're the ACC and the Big 12 with what the Big 10 and the SEC are cooking up together.
Big 12 needs, but they need PST. They need Pacific Coast time.
Yes,
they don't have any.
They don't have any.
Yeah.
That's right.
Why wouldn't they have gone after Washington State, Oregon State already, or San Diego State? To that point.
Well, I could see them going after San Diego State and UNLV. They're bigger markets, so you get the television
Much bigger.
exposure.
Yeah,
Washington State's in Pullman.
Yeah.
Okay, and Oregon State's in Corvallis.
I understand the method of that, Matt.
Yeah.
I get that. They're all about the market. Market
is.
It's all about the market.
Yeah.
I mean, the way the TV is right now, that makes sense.
NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV is getting record early subscribers. So people are ready for the National Football League to start.
I think they're ready year
Less
round.
than 100 days, I believe. Terry Bradshaw has publicly criticized the Steelers on potentially signing Aaron Rodgers, who's 41 years old. He calls the move a joke. He expressed some concerns that this is a short-term stint with him. And he was upset on what they did with Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like when an old-timer comes out and speaks.
He's
allowed.
He's got 4 rings.
He's got some
The
credit.
Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, he makes total sense as to what's going on there. I think he's frustrated with the organization right now. Lack of offense. To your point, you mentioned giving up Kenny Pickett. They didn't build around him. They said he must not be that good, so they shuffled him off for a trade. And then I think what he's thinking is here with all the antics that comes with. Matter of fact, I think he said he needs to go find a tree and some to the point of go smoke whatever. I mean, he didn't hold back. So I think Terry's frustrated. He'd rather see them build within, and they passed on Pickett. So I think he's also saying let Mason Rudolph do his thing, but build around that quarterback situation.
I can remember when Bradshaw was there, and he was in a quarterback battle with Terry Hanratty, and they went back and forth when they were there before Bradshaw finally was given the job. Look, it's not your grandfather's football anymore. The game has totally changed. The way they operate it has totally changed.
I'll give you a few choices in the battle with Joe Gilliam.
Remember? Yep.
Yeah, Joe Gilliam, Terry Hanratty,
Yep.
and Terry Bradshaw.
There you go.
I think Terry's watching this organization from afar not do it the way that I think he's used to.
Right.
They got a heck of a defense. They just can't win a playoff game. And he sees when you're messing around the quarterback situation that's really hard on the team. If you don't build around that quarterback, you're not going to get any further. And he also sees, okay, this Rodgers is a one-hit wonder. And do you start from scratch next year?
Yeah, but it's a one-hit wonder. That's all they're going to use.
That's why
it
he's
for.
saying that, Jimmy.
I know that, but I'm okay with that. If Rodgers walked in and won a playoff game, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah,
okay, then it worked.
I have no problem with Aaron Rodgers coming in. I think from the alumni from the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're frustrated that okay, you're gonna do it this year. So if Rodgers quits, where are we at next year? I think that's where Terry's really getting at. And I don't think he appreciates the antics that have followed Aaron Rodgers. That's not what he's trying to say. It's not the Steelers' way.
There's not one Steeler fan that I have talked to that wants Aaron Rodgers.
Well, a lot of them don't
Not
now.
one.
Now because of
they've never won it.
I think they would have if it had been like 2 or 3 months ago when he would have committed to them and been there with all the OTAs.
You think a fan cares about if the quarterback goes to OTAs, especially a veteran like him?
I think Steeler fans are. And I'm a Steeler fan. I love the Steelers.
Are you really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I did not know that after 22
yeah.
years.
So I think that this is kind of a give and take situation. And again, if you want
to build a give and take,
well, if they're gonna get Rodgers and he can take them to a playoff and win,
okay, that's a give and take.
Yeah, it's a give and take. Now,
okay.
if they don't, okay, they're back to square one with Mason Rudolph as their backup quarterback. So it's kind of like, well, we do, but we don't. Well, this guy, Aaron Rodgers has got a lot of game left in him. He's still very talented, but if he can get you to the playoffs, get you back, and maybe start to lay that foundation to get you back on a regular basis, I think a lot of them look at that. The one guy that they do not care about it coming in as a backup, or if this Rodgers
3 minutes,
goes away,
3 minutes,
this whole Kirk Cousins thing that they're looking at, talking about Kirk Cousins coming in as a quarterback.
That's a joke.
If the Rodgers thing comes away, I'm like, Mason Rudolph can handle it just as well as Kirk Cousins.
You don't think Kirk Cousins still got some life?
No,
I don't think
so.
No,
I do.
I don't. I think he's done.
Not with a $27 million contract.
Yes, that's
he's got $27 million a year.
That's fair. But can
Yeah.
the guy stay if he can play? I think he can. If you can have what's his name play for the Cleveland Browns? What's his name?
Flacco.
Flacco. I mean, who's a better quarterback, Flacco or Cousins?
I think right now Flacco's a better quarterback. But did you watch Cousins the last? He was horrible there for 4 or 5 games.
Terrible. Yeah.
But then he can have a game where he can throw 300 yards.
Well, but they want consistency.
Yeah.
So that whole thing about bringing that contract in to $27 million a year, I would say just develop around Mason Rudolph if you can't get either one of them.
According to ESPN's Football Power Index,
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
The Eagles, that being the Philadelphia Eagles, are projected as the top team for the upcoming season. The index is highlighting their balanced offensive and defensive strengths, and they have positioned them ahead of Kansas City, Baltimore, Detroit, and Buffalo.
I'd agree with that. Defensive line, front seven, even though you lost Sweat. And then you have the offensive line.
They're still really good.
And they got Saquon. They got
lost
the
a lot of
receiver
guys,
core.
Yeah.
They lost a few, but
They do so well in the draft every year.
They do. And he knows how to build in reference to replacing some of those guys. You're not going to replace a Sweat per se.
Not right away.
Not right away, but they're scheming and what they do with those guys up front will help them out.
So there you have it, your football at 50 here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. It's brought to you by Twin Peaks, Eats, Drinks, and Scenic Views. And don't forget, we'll be broadcasting from the Camelback location tomorrow. So come on by and say hello. And we'll be there from 1 to 4. Today, we're out here at the Taco Spot, 59th Avenue and Thunderbird.
1 minute.
Got to follow us. You got to follow the Taco Spot, Learn and Row, giving away some Dimeback tickets for the Cattell Marte hat giveaway on Saturday, June 14th. And we're also giving away a big platter as well. So that's all going on our Instagram page. So check that out if you would. But coming up in hour number 2, we are loaded. Talking some college and NFL hoops. Got some ASU, U of A, and GCU. We have our AC Expert Top Player of the Week. No surprise what we saw last night. That's all coming up in hour number 2 of Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN2. We're also on FM at 98.7 HD2, streaming on the Arizona Sports app as we're live from Taco Spot in Glendale on 59th Avenue and Thunderbird.
It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
All right, D-backs down 3-0 in the bottom of the fifth inning. Skeens pitching really well. Had two big aces on there today with Zach Gallen and, of course, Skeens, who is just a phenom. You just wonder if he wasn't in Pittsburgh, if he was in a bigger market where he'd be on, every single TV
sure he would, yeah.
commercial that you know.
Absolutely. He is wheeling and dealing. 3-zip Pirates. Bases loaded, hit a ground ball, and 1-run scores. Lawler, they try to turn to double play. Lawler throws the ball away. Another run scores. So
2 errors on the D-backs today.
Amazing.
And only 3 hits. They've given up 4. Yeah, same thing. These errors are killing them.
Yeah, it is.
You know, with Torey Lovello talking about the fact that 70% they play right, 30% they play confused. I mean, Perdomo had a bad error yesterday. It's just unfortunate that this team is struggling with their defensive ability.
Well, and Rock, you looked last year; they were fine hitting the ball, but one of the things that they had in reference was the pitching and errors was pretty much which caught up to them. Last year's they missed the wild card by one game, and here it is again. And Troy Lovello said, "Hey, look, we've got some things we gotta square away, but you can't have that. Bases loaded first and foremost, and here you go. You're gonna get 1-run score, but you think you're gonna get out of the inning with a double play, and you're down 2-zip. Error, and next thing you know, you're down 3-0. That was a big error by Lawler. Young man,
error.
They're really trying to play more and more at second base and get him on track in reference to hitting the baseball or just hitting the ball, period.
If you're going to call him up, you got to give him field time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so sporadic with what they have done. And you're just going to have to ride some of the bumps and bruises until he gets totally comfortable.
Well, and I think you have to, because he's got to prove you got to be able to say, okay, here's your top prospect. Okay, we're going to play him at second base. We can play him at short.
Mm-hmm.
We can play him at third. But to your point, Jimmy, I think, you got to play him.
Yeah.
Play him, you can make him your utility guy, but play him day in and day out because you never get any rhythm.
Exactly.
You never get any feel,
Exactly.
any tempo.
Yep.
We just mentioned that on this day, Willie Mays got his first hit was a home run. It was first 24 at bats. He's 0 for 24.
Right.
And he kicks in.
Yeah.
So I think he's, you got these guys kill it in AAA, but they come up to Major League Baseball pitching. You got to get used to it. You got to adapt to it. You got to do some forward scouting about the guy.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to see. Got to get reps. Got to get at bats.
Shohei Ohtani became the first player in the majors to reach 20 home runs this season as the Dodgers beat Cleveland yesterday 9-5. He is just
raking.
He's smoking.
I mean, literally, I stop what I'm doing to watch him.
I do too.
Yeah, really. The way he gets up there at the plate, the way he holds the bat and he holds it real high, he just has that look that he can hit, anything, anytime, anywhere.
And his power goes to anywhere in the park.
Yeah.
He's not a pull hitter. He sprays the ball everywhere. And his power, there's not a park that can hold him. It's like watching Mark McGwire back when he first came up with the A's. He had 48 home runs as a rookie, Mark McGwire. There wasn't a park that could hold him, and the parks back then were bigger than what they are now.
The two guys, Rock, is Aaron Judge and Ohtani.
Yeah.
So with
nobody else.
Yeah, and really,
it used to be Mike Trout, but I've kind of lost interest in him because he's never playing.
He's always hurt.
So first one to 60. You think about these two, 55 or 60. What's the over-under for both of them? Let's say who wins it at 55. Is it 55 over-under? Can they get to 60?
I'll take the over.
Yeah, me
I think
too.
I would too.
Yeah, they're both on a tear.
I mean,
they
he
really
got 20
are.
home runs. I think it's been 55 games. I think he didn't hit 20 home runs until like 70-something games last year.
Yeah.
And Judge is hitting for average.
Yes,
It was 375 as a week ago.
Yeah.
Well, can you imagine a guy hitting 60 home runs, hitting 400?
And Christian Yelich, he hit his first career walk-off grand slam in a 10th inning yesterday to beat the Brewers, as the Brewers beat the Red Sox 5-1. First time he had ever done that, which was surprising, but good to see that. Suzuki, is it Sia? How you say his name? The National League Player of the Week. He batted 480, 3 homers, 10 RBIs.
Sia Suzuki.
How do you say his first name?
Sia. Suzuki.
Sia. What a cool name.
Yeah.
Sia. Of course, you're watching the NBA playoffs. Halliburton recorded a triple-double, 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, no turnovers as they beat the Knicks 108-104 in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. That'll give them the 3-1 series lead. They head to New York for Game 5. Let's see what this.
So many people are all over the Knicks saying, "Well, they're gonna have that home crowd." Well, listen, they had the home crowd the first 2 games and they got beat. So I'm just tossing out the so-called home crowd advantage for the Knicks. Here's an interesting point that somebody was attempting
You laughing
to
because I'm
make.
betting it?
I'm laughing at it as you're betting it. Yes.
I am.
Though, so the point was, well, one of the reasons the Knicks struggle to win at home is because on all the high-priced seats, all the celebrities are there and they all get nervous. That was this guy's point on TV.
How about Pat McAfee, calling out those New York celebrities yesterday.
He did.
He gets out there and he yells,
Yeah.
all the guys,
Yeah.
Ben Stiller and anybody that was from New York. And
Spike,
he had some
everybody.
profanity going.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I mean,
It was
I hope
great.
he's around a long time being a superstar like he is, because he's fun.
So, Jimmy, 69, you look at this Knicks team, it's 69-64 at the half.
Yep.
Then they give up another 60-plus points in the second half.
Correct.
So you have 130 points. So you're sitting there going, what happened to the Knicks defense? Is this offense of the Pacers that much more profound to get up and down the court? What happened to this Thibodeau defense to shut them down? They haven't shut them down the last 2 games.
It's simple to answer that question because they are not used to playing against the pace that the Pacers
I would agree with
play.
that. Yeah.
Okay. The Pacers like to play Pacer basketball, which is racehorse basketball. They are the fastest team up and down the court. Oklahoma City's in the top 5 as well. If we get OKC and Indiana, it's going to be who can get to 125 first is going to win.
The other thing, too, is you look at both these games, both the Western Conference, Eastern Conference, is the turnovers by the losing team or those that are down
That's
in the playoffs
fair.
on a consistent basis. And I just read a stat that the Knicks and the Timberwolves are both up almost 3 to 4 turnovers per game, even in the games that they've won.
Yeah.
More in these playoffs. And those are the supposed defensive teams.
Mhm.
When you look at that, I mean, you look at Halliburton, he had 4 steals. Ace, and then maybe just the talent overall.
3 minutes.
That's wearing
3 minutes.
down in both these series.
The thing about the Pacers matched up against the Knicks, look, you have Karl Anthony Towns playing lights out. The boy is just balling the entire time.
He's doing his job.
He is doing his job. What did they do? They got Jalen Brunson in foul trouble the last couple of games, so he had to sit. He was out of the lineup for stretches of more than 5 minutes. That is a real key with how they have A, played defense against Brunson, and B, how they have gotten him in foul trouble.
So 3rd game in a row, foul trouble.
Yes.
So what's been the culprit for them to create that foul trouble with him?
Because they're not afraid to try to post
Attack
him
him.
down low and attack him to the basket. Yep.
Some golf news. Tiger Woods' son, Charlie, won his first junior tournament. He shot a final round 66 in the AGA Invitational event. He shot 15 under over 3 days, and he is at tops. He's good for golf.
It's great for golf.
Great for golf.
It is. I can say this. I did see a couple of clips of him online. Oh, my gosh. The kid's like, is he 15? Or
15,
is he
yeah, I think he's 15.
15-ish, yeah.
Big kid.
Oh, man, he just
He's
crushes
16.
it.
16.
He's 16. He just crushes the ball.
What a swing.
Oh,
The DNA doesn't go
Oh,
too far
boy,
from
you're
that
not
swing.
kidding.
So he attempted to qualify for the U.S. Open earlier this month, but he failed in
Yeah.
his second attempt. He shot a 3 over 75, so he wasn't there. But that would have been nice to see him in there. I mean, he can handle the exposure. I mean, he can handle the press. He's getting
used
it
to it,
already.
yeah.
I mean, especially when they do those father and sons deals. So yeah, good to see that. So Edmonton Oilers last night took a commanding 3-1 series lead over the Stars with their 4-2 win in Game 4. And then, of course, Carolina avoided elimination by taking care of the Panthers 2 nights ago. They will go at it tonight. That series is tied 2-2. Today's top story is brought to you by the Network Automotive Centers. Looking for a reliable auto repair for your vehicle? Look no further than the Network Automotive Series Service Centers. They got 6 locations across the state. They are trusted experts for maintenance, for repairs. They're family-owned for over 30 years. They're located in Apache Junction, Gilbert, Prescott, Queen Creek. They got 2 locations in Mesa. To find a location near you, just go to networkautomotive.com. Well, up next, it's National Burger Day, but chicken burgers are now America's favorite.
Wow.
We'll settle that beef. Plus, the 10 most dangerous foods in your refrigerator and why Gen Z thinks boiling water is a new trend. Sports bar gossip is next from the Taco Spot at 59th Avenue and Thunderbird.
A burger's on the grill.
Let's get back to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B now on ESPN 620.
It's National Hamburger Day.
Boy, you ruined a great song by the
I know.
Doors.
Is that bad that I did
Riders on the Storm is one of their best songs.
that? Yeah, and I ruined it with a
Yeah,
National
it was
Hamburger
all
Day
right.
deal.
And now it's called on
So DoorDash looked at the most popular type of burgers in all 50 states. And right off the bat, we may need to call this BS because is a chicken sandwich a burger?
What?
So it's a question, not a what. Is it a question?
I call it a chicken sandwich.
It's
I
a
don't call it a
chicken
hamburger, a
sandwich.
chicken burger,
Yeah.
chicken sandwich. You know,
Yeah.
They claim that chicken burgers are now the most popular type of burger in the United States.
Well,
They
are
say
you putting
this-
it in a burger bun? Is that what they're doing?
Tasty burger.
a smash burger does. They go smash. They call it a smashed chicken.
Okay.
Smash burger. They put it in a hamburger bun.
Okay.
Yeah, they put it in a bun. Yeah, it's all just you got a chicken
Semantics.
breast. Yeah, chicken breast.
So they claim here that hamburgers or cheeseburgers were only the most ordered type of burger in 14 states. That's hard to believe. That's compared to 17 states that were chicken burgers number one. Veggie burgers have probably got to be where you're from. Jimmy. Oregon, state of Washington, Rhode Island.
Eat tree bark.
Yes.
This is a tasty burger.
Yeah, turkey burgers came in at number 6. We're good here. A regular burger in Arizona.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's
absolutely.
good there. Consumer Reports posted a list of the most dangerous foods that might be sitting in your refrigerator right now. Now, it's based on how many people got sick or landed in the hospital last year thanks to food poisoning. Now, none of them are definitely dangerous. It's just about how often they are linked to outbreaks and people getting sick and the different types of bacteria, E. coli. Yeah, so sometimes there's more than one. But here are all 10 foods, starting with the most dangerous.
Okay.
Do you guys have any idea what the most dangerous thing in the food would be? Now, again, this causes hospitalizations, deaths, all kinds of stuff like that.
I'll say raw chicken. A raw chicken.
Raw chicken didn't make the list.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Raw meat.
I'll give you deli meat.
Okay. Deli meat.
85 people in the hospital, 10 deaths.
Wow. Okay.
Follow, this one's a tough one. Cucumbers.
What?
Cucumbers?
173 people hospitalized.
Because they ate cucumbers?
Yes. They
get old. They
They
get
get
soft.
old, yeah.
They're really soft.
Raw milk, raw milk cheese, 29 people in the ER. Queso dip.
Damn, I love queso dip.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 deaths, 23 people. Eggs, 34 people. Landed. Onions, 34 people also.
Onions?
Yeah. Leafy greens, 1 death, 36
What?
had to be
Salad?
treated.
Leafy greens?
Organic carrots, organic basil, and pre-cooked meat, like pre-made salads and things like that. So interesting.
Those are some unexpected things.
Yeah. There's a new cooking term.
Okay.
That's going viral, and it's called TikTok, Jimmy.
And
it's
that's a viral thing?
It's a water-based. It's water-based cooking. It's basically just things being boiled, steamed, or cooked as soups or stews. The internet is having so much fun with it. But now it's called water-based cooking. So, like, say if you're making spaghetti or rice, and I come over, Jimmy, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I'm water-basing right now.
Don't bother me, Rock. I'm water-basing.
Yeah.
Can you get high from that? Water-basing?
Yeah. It's crazy how that stuff just happens, on the internet. It goes crazy. There's a new report that claims that the perfect vacation lasts 11 days. And it costs about $8,800 per person and is 3 hours from home. So let's just say it's a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
And your appetite is to go on vacation, the perfect trip. Okay, 11-day stay, Cleveland.
Well,
that is because you're from Buffalo.
The Rock and Roll
right?
Hall
3
of Fame
hours?
is there.
Yeah, 3.5, 4 hours from Phoenix. Phoenix to Buffalo is about close to 4.5, 5 hours. I mean, hey, I would say, weekend, it's only, close to 2 hours from here to Cabo San Lucas.
Yeah.
You're down there for, 8 days 7 days was perfect. You're there the full 7, have that extra day. But that's only a 2-hour flight. An hour and 50 minutes.
So you're there 7 days. How do you have an extra day?
Well, you leave on a Tuesday, you come back on a Wednesday. So you're there full 7 days. Your travel day that 8th day. Don't quite get the 11 days. So I'm trying to sell you. Go full 7 and travel on the 8th day.
So why wouldn't you just say you went on vacation for 8 days?
Yeah.
Why
Well,
would you say 7 plus
Yeah,
the
but
extra
plus
day?
the travel
I don't
Where the hell is an extra day?
The
It's not an
travel-
extra day.
I don't consider a travel as vacation. It's you got to pack
No,
up. you
no,
gotta
no. If you work
travel.
for me, if you work for me every day, if
Yeah.
you take off as your vacation day,
Yeah.
I don't care how long it takes you to get to
Yeah.
where you're trying to go.
Yeah. So 8 days. would be perfect.
63% of people would like to be somewhere on a beach. 53% want to enjoy the great outdoors. 43% want to explore major cities or historical locations. And then 31% like outdoor attractions and landmarks.
Wow.
Not into that anymore.
You're not in that. We would
You're
love
not
to
into landmarks anymore?
Nah, because everything's on the internet. I can see it.
get to be there.
It's like the Grand Canyon.
So
that is the most overrated landmark.
How did I know you would say that?
I remember my
hey.
girlfriend at the time in college. I just moved here in the early 90s.
No
She
wonder
comes
you
to
guys
visit
broke
me, came to visit me, and all she wanted to do was go to Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, we'll go to Grand Canyon. I'd never been there. Get in the car, drive all the way up there, get out of the car, look. All right.
That's all right.
That's cool.
how can
Turn
that be-
around and go back home.
How can that not be?
4 hours later.
That is awe-inspiring.
It is.
What's inspiring about it?
It's so massive. It's a mile deep.
The only
It's
thing
just
I'm thinking about,
massive.
imagine if I fell. I mean,
Well,
that's
got to be careful. But I mean, it's just so massive. When you get there, you go, oh my God, it's more than you ever could imagine.
okay, but that lasts like 5 minutes.
What do you mean if I use?
It's like, saying, oh my God, that is awesome. All right, wow, okay.
Would-
all right,
so would
man.
you-
All right, then I'm done.
Would you like to go over the plank, the see-through plank?
Oh, I
that
won't
goes
do
out?
that. I'm scared of heights. Yeah.
I would love to do that.
I remember this is back in the 90s as well. I think I was on a Delta airplane, and all of a sudden, sometimes when you travel, they'll say, hey, look over to your right, look over to your left, there's the Grand Canyon. This guy went in.
He went down in.
He kind of went down
plane?
in.
Wow.
Yes.
How cool
I can't make that up.
How cool
Because
is
everybody on the
that?
plane was like, what's this guy doing?
gonna go.
Is this his last day or something?
gonna
He's not allowed to do this.
No, but it's your last day.
Yeah, I was like, seriously, this is off the charts. What is this all about?
Have you ever gone?
By the way,
Yeah.
the D-backs are down 8-0. Okay, there were some talking heads this morning, early this afternoon, saying if they lose this game, lose this home series to the Pittsburgh Pirates, Torey Lovello may be asked to step down.
No. I mean, they're in 500 baseball right now.
I agree.
on.
I agree.
I mean, 500
there's just like I'm
No.
saying.
Look, they got the Zach Gallen, and they've been unable to hit Paul Skeens, who's one of the best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball.
Just sucks when you have your ace. No longer your ace. Your number 2.
Yeah.
Is he even number 2 anymore?
Okay.
Well, he's struggled. He's given up. Was it 14 runs in his last 3 starts? So you look at it, he's really struggled as far as I think his ERA is close to 5 in his last 3 starts. And you think of, okay, here's some things that are really faltering him. He's pitching well, but all of a sudden you get an error, you get bases loaded.
Yep. Error.
You can give up. All of a sudden they get 2 runs.
Yep.
You get the error, they score another run, and then the implosion happens. And I think with, you get into a team like this Pittsburgh Pirates. You got the Nationals coming in for a series who are not playing very good baseball, but then you get on the road, you got Atlanta and Cincinnati.
Right.
If this skid were to continue for another 2 or 3 weeks, I think you got to go all the way up to the All-Star break.
Okay,
before you start
let
seeing
me
those
ask you
kind of
this.
decisions.
Zach Gallen's making $13.5 million. He's got a 1-year contract. What do you do if he is struggling like this at the All-Star break and this team's not going to playoffs?
Wow, that's a great question.
3 minutes.
You could get a lot for him. If you know you're going to lose
man.
him, if you know you're going to lose him, I like Zach Gallen. He's a Philly
I
boy.
do too,
I like him a lot. But it's a business, and if this team is either trying to continue on, and your number 1 from last year is now really number 5 or number 4 in your rotation, do you move him? Because there is somebody that's going to take a flyer on. Now you're not even taking a flyer.
Well,
somebody would jump on Zach Gallen,
So
get him in the right spot.
Are you saying if they're 10 games out at the trade deadline, that's when you would look to
not
move him?
only 10 games. I mean, they're
I don't know what the number is.
They're 7 games out of the wild card right now.
Right now,
So if they're 10, 9, 10, 11 out of the wild card, and they're 12 out at the trade deadline right after the All-Star break, then I think at that point you start looking at, gosh, we're really struggling. Can we hustle back to get into the wild card? They're currently 7 games out
I understand.
of the wild card.
Yeah.
Besides 6.5 out of first place.
If you can move a Zach Gallen, I know we're
Wow.
so premature, but if you could move him,
Well,
what would you want for him?
Well, I think you've got to get a top-notch reliever because Ryan Nelson can fill in for him, and then you have Erod will be coming back.
Don't even go there with it.
No, but I'm just saying,
I don't want to see him on.
No, I know, but he's got a huge contract.
I'm well aware, but
a lot of guys have big contracts.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, so if you feel if Ryan Nelson continues to pitch well, and if Erod comes back, let's say in a week or so, hopefully, and he's starting to get on track, can you afford to give up Zach and replace him with Erod?
But Zach is
1 minute.
He's
1 minute.
unrestricted free agent next year.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you try to get something for him?
I would.
You're going to lose him.
Yeah, I would.
If this team is hovering where we are right now, why wouldn't you want to move him?
And is he proven to have?
He's proven that he's an all-star. He's
Sure.
an ace. He could be an ace on a lot of teams. Maybe he just needs a change of scenery.
Maybe.
I think that that's going to be the next 5 starts up until that All-Star game. I mean, vitally important to answer that question for you, Rock, is okay, is he a 500 pitcher? He's struggling. His ERA's up to 6? Can we trust him? If we give him an extension and he's going to want, let's say, $20-25 million, do we want to invest in that?
That's the thing.
And hopefully he comes around.
Because has he got one more big contract?
Yeah. Well, and then what do you do now at that point? And you got some other guys.
Mike Hazen and his team are already, they've been knocking on doors. And there's like, okay, if we're going to move Zach Gallen, come on, Zach, get a couple more W's. Because you're going to lose him anyway.
Sure, yeah. And the other you got Suarez, his situation.
Yeah.
Zach Gallen, he's going to be renewed.
Clear to toss.
So you got guys that are already been taken care of, but do you trust he'd be able to do that if you give him the extension?
All right, coming up, we are at the Taco Spot here in Glendale, 59th Avenue and Thunderbird. You got to go on our Instagram and Twitter and like the Taco Spot ad that we have, the banner ad that's up, because we are giving away a platter of food here. We're also giving away D-back tickets for the Saturday Padres game when it's Marte's hat giveaway. So we got that going for you. I'm like just doing this off the cuff. So go to our Twitter page, Roc and Manuch, and like it, follow it, and you'll be in the running to win it. So coming up, we'll go around the state with our campus quickies. But next, here's Jax with a Taco Spot ESPN 620 sports update.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's ESPN 620 update from the Taco Spot. I'm Jackson Groff. The Diamondbacks tough 5th and 6th innings. They're down 8-0 at the end of the 6th inning, allowing 7 runs in the span of 2 innings. Zach Gallen had a rough day today. 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, while Paul Skeens on the mound pitched 6 innings, 7 Ks, only 4 hits allowed. We'll keep you updated through the game as the show progresses, but the Diamondbacks 8-0 not looking
30 seconds.
too pretty. The Taco Spot, your go-to for big flavor and easy catering. Feeding a crowd, try the street taco platter. 64 tortillas, 4 pounds of meat, rice, and beans. Perfect for 10 to 12 people. Or grab the burrito platter. 6 big burritos cut and ready to share with chips included. Whether it's game day or lunchtime, the Taco Spot has you covered. For a location near you, head to tacospotaz.com.
Hey, it's Kevin Rowe from
Welcome back in. We're rolling today from the Taco Spot here in Glendale. It is Thunderbird at 59th Street, and we are here until 4 o'clock this afternoon.
59th Avenue.
59th Avenue. Thank you. Not Street, Avenue. All right, let's don't waste any time. It is time for our campus quickies. Let's go to ASU. That means Hode Rabino, Devil's Digest, is our guest. You can find him on X at Devil's Digest. Hode, welcome, pal, as always. So let's dive into ASU baseball. They didn't close well during the regular season, but they did hear their name called, and it's the first time that they are back in the tournament now in 3 years.
Yeah, and first time I was also under skipper Willie Bloomquist. Definitely some white knuckle moments in Tempe when the selection show was taking place on Monday. ASU was officially one of the last 4 teams in, but I think that overall, even though they ended the season with a 4-game skid, I think that the committee did appreciate their body of work in basically for most of the season. So I think if you're ASU, maybe you're just coming in with a chip on your shoulder, wanting to prove that what happened the last 4 games was definitely an aberration. But you also got to think that they're coming really with not that much pressure, because I don't think anybody out there is thinking they're the favorite to win what's a pretty tough Los Angeles regional, with UCLA being the host.
Hode, what has been the culprit, or I should say the main reason why this ASU program is finally getting back? Jimmy talked about, even though they had the 4-game skid, you go and get a guy named Landon Harrison, who's Scott Harrison's son, Jerry Harrison Jr.'s nephew. Those kind of quality athletes have not been a part of this program. How is Willie Bloomquist convincing them to come to ASU?
Yeah, look, I think when you look at just the greater Phoenix area being one of the most desired places to live in the entire country, in terms of facilities, I think that ASU is able to stack very, very well with the power conferences out there. So I think that those are some things that really do go in ASU's favor. And look, even though it's been a while since ASU has won World Series or has even been to Omaha, I think it's still a program that does have a storied past. You got ASU alums like Barry Bonds, like Reggie Jackson, like Dustin Pedroia. So I think those are some of the factors that really caused Willie Bloomquist to attract a lot of good talent. The question is, what do you do once the talent is here? And I think this season was way too much of a roller coaster. And I think Willie Bloomquist and his staff are honest enough to look themselves in the mirror to know that they didn't do a great job coaching for the entire season. But again, now they are in the NCAA tournament. This is a huge chance for redemption and to show that this is an ASU team that resembles more the team that won 10 of the last 12 games before they had this 4-game skid. And by the way, during that period, 5 of those 10 wins were run rule victories, games that did not even go the whole 9 innings because ASU's bats were hotter than, a Tempe sidewalk in July. So I think that if that ASU team shows up, maybe they can, make some serious noise in this regional. But I think that's like all ASU fans out there. You're wondering which Thunderbolt team is the one that's going to show up. Is it the team that was red hot before this 4-game skid? Or maybe it is still the team that is really backing into the NCAA tournament and not coming with a lot of momentum, if any, at all.
Yeah, I'm sure you're following the Big 12 spring meetings that are happening this week.
Let's go GCU next.
A lot of
GCU
discussion is happening in reference to maybe Big 12 expansion, UNLV, San Diego State, maybe some of the other teams. How much will that benefit if they can get those West Coast presence with San Diego State and or UNLV?
I think it really could help with travel. I mean, look, when it comes to a football team, sure, you rather not travel 2-3 time zones away that often in the season, but ultimately that may amount to just maybe 3 trips all year long. But when you talk about the Olympic sports, we're talking about baseball, for example. We talk about softball. We talk about other sports. To have that grueling travel to the Midwest and to the East Coast happening at a pretty high frequency, that really takes a toll financially. I think it also takes a toll on the team as well. So if you're going to add more West Coast teams, maybe you can get into that pod system that I know that was talked about not only in the Big 12, but I think in other conferences as well. So now ASU is not playing West Virginia or Central Florida that often, but in turn is playing teams, like you said, UNLV and San Diego State, if they were to join the conference more often. I think that's really easy on everybody, everybody involved. So I think that this is a type of expansion that if you're a West Coast team like Arizona State, you would definitely welcome with open arms.
Always good, Hode, when we catch up with you. Have a great day, pal.
Thank you, guys.
There you go. Hode Rabino, Devil's Digest. All right, let's go now to GCU. And Paul Coral, Lopes Insider for Grand Canyon University. You can find him on X at Paul Coral. All right, here we go, Paul. I want to know how Gonzaga was able to swoop in and swipe a player that a lot of folks thought he was going to be playing there again this coming season. Explain.
I don't know if I can fully explain it. There's certainly still some compliance things that would need to be taken care of. He was in the transfer portal. I mean, you think about a year ago this time, we're talking about Ty and Grant Foster, I assume. He was, going into the draft combine and working out for teams and stuff. And, it seemed like it was more of a pro future for him. And then he ended up making the decision to come back to kind of enhance his future. And so, this is a curious time in college athletics where guys are weighing the value of staying in college another year versus a pro career. And he has the extra layer of just a very different past, having been in junior college and having missed almost 2 full seasons because of his heart issues. So there's a lot of questions there, and we'll see how it comes out.
Okay, because he was in the portal, did he give you guys any indication that he was just going to snoop around, but he still wanted to stay with the Lopes, or did he make it pretty clear that he was going to exit?
I wasn't really privy to any of that, to be honest, about what his intentions were, but I mean, it was pretty clear that Bryce Drew knew he had to move on with his roster, and you can kind of see that with what they did and what they went out and got and secured, and to be the only mid-major in the top 50 of the nation for transfer portal classes. They were pretty aggressive and successful in that realm, and to move on to the next stage. And last year, the Grant Foster thing kind of came late, and it changed some things, some dynamics, because they didn't really have a plan at that time. They thought he was going pro, and certainly welcomed back, but it made it, it wasn't part of the original summer plan, and they were pretty deep into the summer when that came up.
Well, a couple questions here for you in the same vernacular. Number one, was he looking to give them a first right of refusal, i.e. comes back with the offer, or were you guys looking to move on no matter what?
Yeah,
Glenn's ready for you whenever you are.
Those are conversations that would have been just between them, and but I would just say, look, from looking for the outside, Grant Foster put himself in the portal, and Bryce Drew went into that portal to form the next roster, and there wasn't really a hole sitting there waiting. They filled it up.
Okay, all right, Paul. Have a great day. Thank you, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's Paul Coro, everybody, from GCU. Now let's head to Tucson. That means that Glenn Howell, who is the host of the pre, halftime, and postgame on the Football Network, is indeed our guest. Welcome, as always, Glenn. Before we get into some of the Big 12 stuff, set us up for University of Arizona baseball. Great victory to win the Big 12 Conference baseball title.
How about that? That was just an amazing job that the baseball team did. I mean, just think of that. These guys, they did a miracle job last year winning the Pac-12, and they come back and win the Big 12. Got some really good players that are really just interested in winning, man. I mean, just interested in winning. These guys are just done a great job. And Chip Hale, you got to give him credit for just putting this team together and rallying them and getting them to go for this, for this tournament. And they just did a great job. Just a little disappointed we didn't get a regional, though. That was just sad that we didn't get one.
And Glenn, talk about in reference to Chip Hale resurrecting this U of A baseball program for many, many years, Arizona State, U of A, and GC, all three of you. But what he's done to come in, the former alumnus, former major league manager, comes down to Tucson and gets them back on track. How has he done that?
I just think that he's had some good recruiting, and he takes a couple of our local guys here, and they've done very well. And he's just a good, I think Chip's a good guy. I've known Chip for a long time. He was there when I was at U of A, and he knew, I just knew him from even in high school, when he was in high school up in Northern California. So he's just a good baseball guy, and he's got good people around him. And I think that's what his secret sauce is.
From the Big 12 meetings that are going to take place, there's some talk about trying to expand also more into the Western time zones. Also, the SEC and Big Ten are making a lot of noise about trying once again to rig the playoff system. Your response first on what the SEC and Big Ten are trying to do, and then secondly, about possible expansion on the Big 12.
Well, listen, I don't know if a lot of us are going to make the cut on the next league that they have. The Big 12 is trying to expand. I don't know where they're expanding to, if they're going to expand. Because the next cut, I think it's going to be the Big Ten and the SEC, and then they're going to invite some people. And I don't think that me personally, I don't think that Arizona or
clear to rep
is going to make that cut. So I just don't think that it's evolving right now that, they're just going to cut out a lot of these teams, and college sports is going to change in the next 2 to 5 years. I think it's going to be something that we have never expected to see.
Always good, pal, when we catch up with you. Thank you again for your time. Have a great day.
All right. We'll see you.
There goes Glenn Howell, everybody. You can follow him on X at Glenn P. Howell. And all of our campus quickies presented today by All City Towing, largest towing company in the state, a place where your career can get a serious boost. And why do I say that? Because they are looking for someone like you. They are hiring call takers, lot attendants, drivers, customer service professionals, and you get benefits like this: top-tier towing equipment, health benefits, a 401k with an employer match, paid life insurance, even a monthly fuel allowance, and you are paid well for your work. Does it sound good? Yes, because it is good. It is allcitytowing.com and search careers. Once again, go to allcitytowing.com and search careers. It's All City Towing, where your future is on the move. Coming up, it's our AC experts. Who's hot? Who's not? Player of the week, and scorching right now with an incredible triple-double and 0 turnovers, Tyrese Halliburton. He was on another level last night for the Indiana Pacers. Also, our random fact of the day takes you back 19 years ago. Barry Bonds passes the babe. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Hanging out. ESPN 620, 98.7 FM, HD2.
Summer is just around the corner. Is your
Cold Player of the Week, brought to you by AC Experts. With over 20 years of experience, their locally owned and operated team keeps you comfortable year-round. For service, call 480-386-6980 or schedule an appointment online at acexpertsaz.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B hanging out here at the Taco Spot in Glendale. And it is time now for our AC Experts Who's Hot. It is this guy, Tyrese Halliburton with the Pacers.
Halliburton, they went with McBride on Halliburton and now switching everything. Shot clock at 3, Halliburton for 3. But that was deep, but Brunson backed up, anticipating.
There you go. Hot Player of the Week presented by AC Experts. 20 years of experience, locally owned and operated. And for service, just call 480-386-6980. Once again, 480-386-6980. Or schedule an appointment online at acexpertsaz.com. That's acexpertsaz.com. Summer's coming. Be ready with AC Experts.
Apologize since he didn't have me up.
I know your mic wasn't on.
I'm not normally here on Wednesdays.
You look good though.
So I'm like, what do you need? Verbally cue up. When do we start doing that? All right, that's some new stuff here. When I'm not here,
Wednesdays,
I see how it works.
We might make sure we give it enough love for the AC Experts.
Okay, all right.
Jimmy, is my imagination, or are these 3-point shooters getting further and further back
They
with their
just
shots?
back up like you cannot believe. It is not your imagination. The range that some of these players have is absolutely sensational. You thought you were only seeing it with Steph Curry. Now there probably are 10 to 15 guys who have that range.
All right, let's get to our random fact of the day. 19 years ago today, 2006, Barry Bonds hit his 715th home run to pass Babe Ruth on the career home run list. So the top three are Bonds at 762, Hank Aaron at 755, and Babe Ruth at 714. Question I have for you two. What former D-back did he hit it off of?
Oh, man.
What
pitcher?
Former D-back? I mean, I could give you the team. I don't think that'll help you.
No.
But, and then I could give you a couple other things I could say.
D-back.
I don't want to give it away too much, but he's a guy. All right, I don't care. I'm giving enough people to kind of figure it out. If you know it, you know it, whatever, if you're listening. But my clues would be is whenever he came in as a Diamondback, you're like, oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. And then sometimes he would be like, wow, he just did what?
I'm going oh no right now because it's 10-0 Pirates.
That's embarrassing.
In the 8th inning over the D-backs.
Yeah,
you
Kim?
got it. I don't
Was it
know.
Kim?
Yes,
It was Kim.
Colorado Rockies.
Yeah,
Wow,
Kim. Okay.
great job, Manu.
Thank you. Because he
Tough
was either on.
Exactly. You
or
come
off.
in, you're like, no.
The Yankees love Kim in that World Series, that's for sure.
I got two more random facts.
Okay.
Today. I went a little crazy this morning.
That's fine.
There hasn't been an NFL game with the final score 7-0 in over 40 years.
That's incredible.
1983,
a
Patriots beat
long-
the Saints 7-0. How about that?
1983, 7-7.
You were in the league then.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was.
What were you doing, by the way?
83. I was with the Wranglers. I was with the Arizona Wranglers.
Still got
I'm sorry.
that Sharpie? All right.
I do.
And then finally, University of Oklahoma, their dining hall is the home of the only all-you-can-eat Chick-fil-A in the world.
It doesn't surprise me at OU. They've got so much money and so much cash that they do stuff out of the box like that.
Wow.
And is that healthy enough for a training table?
Hey, it's chicken.
Well, yeah, put that in the they can put that in the category of the training table / cafeteria. I guess if it's in there, it's good to go.
Let's get to football at 50. Here we are, a little late, but the Colts will wear a black patch on their jerseys this year in honor of the late Jim Irsay, who died last week at the age of 65.
I mean, that's a great way to honor him. Look, it goes all the way back to his dad, Bob Irsay, who moved the Baltimore Colts in the middle of the night on Mayflower moving vans all the way to Indianapolis. And the son, Jim, was on the sidelines a lot. I happened to be working in Baltimore, talked to him a lot of times. But then what happened when they moved to Indianapolis, then Bob Irsay and then Jim started to matriculate into the front office a lot more, and he was ready then to take over after his father passed.
What's interesting is there's certain owners that you give them the respect of Mr. Right?
Yes,
You know, it's like, but like Jerry Colangelo, you could, hey, Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't Mr. Colangelo.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
But when I interned with the Colts, it was Mr. Irsay.
Irsay.
You're in the elevator, it's Mr. Irsay. When I was with the Cardinals for a short time too, it's Mr. Bidwell.
Yes.
You know, is it Mr. Kraft? You know, I mean, there's certain owners that get that respect.
Well, a lot of owners will say, "Call me Robert."
Yeah,
or
you're right.
And some will say, "Well, they appreciate that." It's very respectful. But a lot of them will say, "Hey, you can call me Bob. Or you
Yeah.
can call me
Yeah.
whatever."
Don't be so formal.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of it.
One
But,
and a half.
You look at now, he's got his 3 daughters or 4 daughters going to take
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
the team.
Yeah.
And I think the story was that he was really prepping them this last year
They've all been involved in front office duties.
because
all
he's
of them.
been ill for over about a month.
Yeah.
So the last month specifically, he's really trying to hone in with them to make sure they're taking over.
Real quick, NFL rule changes for 2025. I know we've gone back and forth. I'm sure we're going to talk about them during the summer quite a bit. But touchbacks will now start at the 35-yard line.
Good.
What is going? That sucks.
It does suck.
That sucks.
So here's the thing.
Come on.
Get him what they want to do now. They're forcing that. The reason they did that, they want to get a return. So they're going to
50
kick
seconds.
the ball. That's a penalized if you kick it in the end zone. So they
I
want them to kick
understand
it up
that. I
so they
get
get a
it.
return.
Sucks.
It still sucks.
Just
I agree.
Start getting back to the 20.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's what they're saying. Okay, if you kick in the end zone, we're going to have them start on the 35. So they want you to give you like a pooch kick. So they're incorporating returns back into the game.
Wow. Well, it's going to be kind of like what we're
30
going to be
seconds.
talking about next. It's like indoor arena football. Jeez, we're going to go inside. Rattlers impressive 7-1 start with head coach Kevin Guy. And we'll find out what's clicking with Dalton Snead and his high-powered offense. Then we're going to pivot to the hardwood. Suns radio analyst Tim Kempton will join us. We'll talk about the NBA Finals and who he thinks is going to be the next head coach. So we'll get into all that next as we're coming to you
5
from
seconds.
the Taco Spot in Glendale at 59th Avenue and Thunderbird. This is Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Rattlers Report. Join us as we dive into the latest news and highlights from the 7-time national champions. Now let's bring on our special guest from the Arizona Rattlers to get the inside scoop on this season's action.
And there's only one, and that's the head coach, Kevin Guy, who joins us now here on ESPN 620. They're 7-1 this weekend. They'll be up in Vegas, the Vegas Nighthawks, 6 o'clock up there in Henderson, Nevada, and he joins us now here. What's going on, Coach? How you doing today?
Doing great, guys. How you doing?
Doing well. Hey, I want to go back to your comeback win against Northern Arizona, the Wranglers. You guys really showed some resilience. What adjustments did you make to turn that game around and steal that win?
Well, we should have never been in that situation. Right before halftime, we were up 7. We got to stop, and we had the ball and drove down and scored. Our situational football, our clock management, I thought everything was great. How we executed. We scored with 3 seconds to go before halftime, which put us up 14, and we had the ball coming out the second half, which would have put us up 21. We would have been able to blow the game wide open, and we go up 14. We score with 3 seconds left, and then we kick off and let them run a kickoff back, and then we come out to start the third quarter, and we fumble. And next thing we know, we got ourselves into a ball game. Momentum shifted, and we just had to kind of settle down. I think we fumbled, and then we got stopped on 4 downs, 2 drives in a row. So the game had kind of flipped on us, and we just kept our poise, stayed together, and at the end, the game was tied. Our defense came up with a big stop, and we got the ball back and was able to drive down, and we wanted to leave as little time on the clock as possible, and we got down inside the 5. It was 4th down, and what I did was I called the kicking team out. We were going to kick the field goal since the game was tied. So you could see them over there preparing to try to block the kick, or, telling them watch for the fake, because we were inside the 5-yard line. So I just had second thoughts about it. But I thought about this scenario before, and I've always told myself, I'm going to put the kicking team out there, make them think we're kicking, then we're going to bring the offense back out. We had our timeout. So we brought our timeouts back out, and we brought our offense back out, and we just went for it. And we did a play action. We were so close to the goal line, the defense had to be bees to honey. And we found Houston in the back of the end zone. Yeah. So we got out there with a W. They always play us tough up there. The building's a matchbox, and the fans are sitting right on top of you, and it's very loud in there. So, but I thought our guys, handled it well. We obviously want to play better. I mean, listen, this team, we keep figuring out how to win these close games. We've played 8 games. 5 of them have literally came down to the last play or the last drive of the game, and we've been able to win 4 of them. So, resilient team. We just keep working, and hopefully we're going to turn these winning close into starting to win big.
Kevin, I want to ask you this. You've been doing this a long time. Do you consider yourself an innovator as when it comes to Arena League football? The way that you come up with a play on the fly. Last time we had you on the show, you made up a play on the bench, and it worked. And now you run not really a trick play, but you caught them off guard. Do you not sleep at night? Do you just dream about this all the time?
What's going on in that noggin?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm perceived how I'm perceived, but I would tell you this. I've watched the outdoor game for years. Okay. And, obviously played it myself, coached it myself. And then when I got in the arena indoor game, this is a possession game, and I've watched the outdoor game change from a possession, a field position game to, I think it's more today, more about possessions, the way they're running these offenses. And the only thing I haven't really bought into is, and I think the outdoor, if I was coaching outdoor, I would certainly have the guts to do it, is you always see these kickoff return teams put 5 guys up on that front line, and then the second line's like, 15 yards behind them, and I'm like, if I was, I would have a little bit more guts and trying some onside kicks and try to steal some possessions. The offenses, I think the arena game was just ahead of its time. I mean, Mouse Davis, the guy that was the godfather of the run and shoot offense. I mean, he's the one that came up with the rules of arena football. So, I think he was a little ahead of his time when they came up with the nuances of the game, and you're slowly seeing the outdoor game starting to change in many ways. Now, I don't like how the NFL does their kickoffs now. I understand why they do it, but I don't. That whole play is just taking all the fun out of special teams. Yeah. But in college they still do. So I do have an innovative mindset. I do sit around and try to think of all these different situations, and I mean, listen. At the end of the day, you got players that are counting on you. You got a staff that's counting on you. And you want to make sure you got your team prepared for every situation. And we actually, there was a couple of things that came up today, and so that I'm thinking through right now that I may want to pull out this weekend. But it's just part of the game. I think you're either evolving or you're becoming stagnant, and your mind's got to think that way.
Coach, and watching Dalton Snead, I've been seeing it forever. For that one play, it was at the end of the first half you talked about, where it was almost very Eli Manning-esque in the Super Bowl. He goes forward, breaks a tackle, shucks off a defender, goes left, goes right, comes back inside, has a coffee break, and just launches that ball in the end zone. Was that in the first half? And is there anything that he doesn't do that doesn't surprise you?
Well, that's something else that we had practiced. No, I'm just kidding.
You did?
Yeah. No, listen, he always does a good job of figuring out how to get out of some of those tight situations. I thought Houston went up and did a great job of catching the ball at its highest point. But, there were some plays and I what they were doing with us, because we had a lot of speed on the field. There's 8 players on the field. Well, they were dropping 6 and rushing 2. There was even a couple plays where they rushed 1 and was dropping 7, trying to take away our windows, because we had figured out what they were doing defensively, and there were some plays where Dalton was able to sit in the pocket for 8 to 9 seconds. We literally timed it, and we had good protection, but when they're dropping everybody like that, the only thing that you can do to get them out of that is the quarterback's got to take off running, or you got to have a running back that's friendly, that you check it down and get them to start tightening back up. So they were definitely trying to take away our big play and make us check it down and work. And are we going to break down ourselves? But Dalton's done such a great job from a leadership standpoint, and they're starting to attack us differently this year than they did last year. So we're making some adjustments on the fly. And I've always told the players, I love guys that love football, and Dalton's one of those guys. He loves football. He loves talking football. So it's easy when we're sitting here talking about situations. It's always good to have a quarterback that it's important to them and they want to win. When you get into these deep conversations, here's how we want to play it. Just like this week. I mean, we probably spent 30 minutes today on how we're going to score the ball from the 1 yard line, because we're playing Vegas, and they give you some different looks on the fronts in that situation. So we got some check some check with me plays that we put in this week to make sure that we get into the right play. So I enjoy working with Dalton. He's got a mind for the game. And certainly, me and him was sitting having lunch yesterday, and, we probably talked 30, 45 minutes, just sitting there talking ball. So I always have an appreciation for those guys that love what they do.
Coach, playoff positioning, and with every year you have a lot of new guys, but you're here a lot. How do you keep your guys kind of focused to maintain the position they're in, keep that momentum going, so they don't kind of like sit back? All right, we're 7-1. We're undefeated in the conference. How do you play that?
Well, it's normal behavior, right? It's human nature.
Sure.
And I don't care how much a coach gets up and talks about it. It's human nature, and that's something that we talk about a lot in our program. I'm big on the culture of the locker room. I'm big on mindset and how we're going to attack things, and sometimes the players, you can give them sugar, but eventually you got to give them some vinegar to wake them up. Okay. But we constantly sit here and talk about the mindset. You hear people say that it's,
clear to toss,
50% mental, 10% physical. And, my first question is, then we need to coach the mind more. So, so we sit here and we talk through a lot of different situations and what are we going into this week? What's going to be Vegas's mindset based on what's been happening with them over the last few weeks versus, hey, here's our mindset. And listen, we're coming off a championship, so we're getting everybody's best game. Everybody wants to be the one that beats us. The good thing is that I love about this business model is we turned over 70-80% of our roster. So a lot of these guys are going through it for the first time.
Yeah.
So they don't know any better, and they're just doing whatever we ask them to do. It's the ones that returned, from last year that you want to make sure that, the average mindset doesn't set in. So we spend a lot of time, discussing that. Obviously you got to execute your plays and things like that. And we're going to be inside for a while. So I love having the field down. We could walk from our meeting room right out here on the game field. And, yesterday we had about an hour's walk through, just to save the bodies a little bit. You don't win the game on Tuesday or Wednesday, you win the game on Saturday. So we want to make sure we got fresh bodies, fresh minds going into the game this week. And it gives our guys a chance to heal up a little bit. We did hit the field today. We'll hit the field tomorrow, and then we travel on Friday.
Coach, good luck in Vegas, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for the time, as always.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
That's Coach Kevin Guy, the Arizona Rattlers. Again, they got the Vegas Nighthawks on Saturday, 7-1 right now, having a remarkable season, as always. You can follow him on X at Coach K Guy. Brought to you today by the Network Automotive Centers. We've been talking about them all day long. Check them out by going to their website, thenetworkautomotive.com, where your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. All right, coming up, is the NBA actually better when the big names stay home? There's no Lakers. There's no Celtics. Maybe no Knicks. So if it's Thunder and Pacers, they're on the brink. Some say it's fresh. Others say it's a ratings nightmare. We're going to hit both sides next. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B from the Taco Spot.
I was in a wreck.
McConnell on the move. Mathurin, corner, Siakam.
All right, Pacers and Thunder are one win away, from crashing the NBA Finals. And if they do, it'll mark the first time in nearly 2 decades that the Finals doesn't feature a team from New York, LA, Boston, Miami, Golden State, or Cleveland. So let's ask this. Is this a refreshing change or a ratings disaster?
Well, the NBA's, be careful what you ask for. They wanted parity. They've got the salary caps. They got all that. Now here you are. Everybody's going, well, we got the parity. Well, the 2 best teams, if they're Indiana and Oklahoma City, isn't that what everybody wanted? Not really, because we're spoiled. But the NBA, the owners, wanted this. And I think what will reflect is to the NBA, to the Adam Silvers of the world, that folks are still, we'll see, are still ingrained, or are we starting to see some new stars emerge where people are going to watch those 2 stars?
So, Jimmy, let me ask you this, because you're our NBA expert. I'm going to give you 2 sides.
Okay.
All right, let's look at the positive for the small market teams.
Mm-hmm.
Is it good that the league can showcase fans in Indiana and in Oklahoma City, let them have the spotlight, along with now we're seeing some new star power in SGA and Halliburton. Okay, that's the 4.
Okay.
The against would be, let's be real. Do we really care about OKC and Indiana? I mean, don't fans want to see Knicks and Lakers? Doesn't the NBA want to see it's a star-driven league?
It is.
I mean, so of those two sides of this conversation, where do you lean?
I can tell you right now that it will be a ratings nightmare if indeed those 2 teams are in. However, the games have the potential to be absolutely sensational.
Okay, so
now,
let me ask you that.
Okay.
So is this TV ratings versus quality of basketball quality? I mean, because you're going down that road, and we're seeing some really good games.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a good brand of basketball.
Yes.
So does that outweigh the TV ratings?
It will in some people's minds, but for the majority, I think are in the corner that you're in. If the stars aren't there, that they recognize the casual NBA fan who knows Steph, who knows LeBron, who knows Luka, who knows Giannis, and they're nowhere to be found.
Nobody knew Halliburton until this.
No, that is correct.
True.
That is
This
correct.
week.
And
2 weeks.
they really didn't know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that well either. So here's the rub. It's a great point. I think that television ratings will be down if it's those 2 teams. However, I think the quality of basketball and the games by game 3 or 4, you might be able, if it's 2-2, you might be able to draw some fans back in.
I equate it to when there's a golf tournament on.
Yeah.
If Tiger's in the mix,
you're
if
watching.
the top 5, you're watching. If Tiger's not in the mix or the top 5 or 6 guys aren't there, I'm not going to tune in on Sunday.
You're not watching Charlie Hoffman.
No,
Okay,
no.
all right. I don't know if that's a good analogy. I think that would have been a good analogy if Tiger was still playing.
No, I'm just using an example.
But if you use an example of now, if Bryson DeChambeau or John Rahm, who are in the LIV, and those guys, we need him in the PGA.
Yeah.
But don't you want if Rory's there?
Sure.
Golfers, but at least golf. There's 10 guys you'll tune into now.
If the top any of the top 10 are in a tournament that are there, I'll tune in. But there are a lot of these golfers, besides the 5 or 6 guys you mentioned, I don't know who a lot of these new guys are. Now they might be the best golfers out there, but I'm not interested in watching unless
Scotty Scheffler's moving the needle right now.
He is.
He's making some noise. And I think people who were just kind of somewhat they peek in on weekends, watch the PGA. Now they're seeing this guy just dominate.
So do you see? So the next 5 or 6 years, if we see this on a regular basis, SGA and Ant-Man are continuing it more and more. To your point, starts to go on everybody to go, okay, I'm going to tune it because they're the best of the best, even though they're not. LeBron's not there anymore, or Luka's not there, or KD's not there, or Steph's not there. So to your point, Rock, okay, there's some guys that are emerging, Scotty Schefflers of the world,
new stars,
that are coming on that I want to watch because I know I'm going to get good entertainment and see good play.
Okay, with that said, then SGA is up and coming.
Yeah.
Halliburton is coming.
They're
So
kind of
it's the same
exactly
thing.
that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. The next 3 or 4 years, if they're continually
See,
there,
I don't think we could go 3 or 4 years. I think we all live in the moment.
I agree.
We
with
live
that.
in the moment now.
Yes.
We can't look ahead 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
well, that's
Can't
what
do
it
that
might.
in any sport.
That's what it might be. Those two individuals could be in the finals, the
I just-
semifinals for the next several years.
I wonder if the talking heads, the suits of the National Basketball Association are smart enough to be able to say, okay, we need to get this narrative out there that we have this is underdogs rising. You have these underdog teams,
Small market teams.
Yeah, that they're there. Okay, we don't have Tatum, we don't have Steph Curry, we don't have LeBron, but we got now this SGA who he's the MVP of the league.
He is.
Halliburton is now a superstar in the last 2 weeks.
That's what I said. It's got to grow on people, Rock. It's not going to be immediate. It's not going to be Carnation Instant Breakfast. They got to see these kids year after year. Okay, he's in the running for MVP again, or he's in the running. So all of a sudden, you get Halliburton and SGA. If they face each other, let's say 2 out of the next 3 years, and they're MVPs, people go, okay, I got to watch those 2 kids.
See, I don't know, because we live in a world where there's 3 superstars on a team.
Pretty much.
You can't name more than 3 guys on each of these 2 teams.
Those people can't even name 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to matter with these 2 guys.
It may not.
SGA needs to get traded.
Yeah.
Let me just reference this. And we all know how good the NBA is at promoting stars.
Very good.
Okay.
That's where I'm just bringing up this underdog idea.
So not only do they, if they're both in the finals, do you promote the underdog aspect, but you promote the hell out of SGA and of Halliburton. And
is that enough?
And because those are the 2 faces, you have Chet Holmgren, you have Pascal Siakam. You get those faces on as many platforms as you possibly can, so that people will see them. The casual fan will see them and say, "Oh yeah, maybe I'll watch some of this tonight." That is your job if those 2 teams are in.
Let me ask you, when the Pacers had all those stars for when Larry Bird was coaching them,
Have Reggie Miller, Rick
Reggie
Smith,
Miller, all those guys.
Rick
I mean,
Smith,
it did seem like when those guys, they were out there front and center because of Reggie.
That's correct.
What was the center's name?
Rick Smith.
Smits.
Yeah.
Those guys were all.
The dunking Dutchman.
Jackson was on that team. Those guys
Mark
were
Jackson.
There were stars, and it seemed like in that era, everybody had stars. So it didn't matter if you were small or large market.
I'm not going to say
minute
Mark
and a half.
Jackson
Minute
was
and a half.
star. I'll say and Rick Smits. They were very, very good players, but they were recognizable
well-known.
names.
Yeah.
Recognizable names.
And Jackson had gone from the Knicks to Indiana.
That is correct.
So it seems even Minnesota with the stars they had, everybody had their stars. Now you got one star here, and what you were saying, Rock, it's like, yeah, you can only name 1 or 2 guys. Where the Lakers, you can rattle off this, you can rattle off when the Bulls were all that, the Knicks. I mean, so I think it's going to take some getting used to for the casual fan to go, well, he's won the NBA's MVP for 3 years in a row, or he's in the hunt. And I think to your point, Jimmy, if they don't market the hell out of them,
they have to
get the eyeballs on a small market, then they're missing out.
All right, our State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question today. Which would you rather watch in the NBA Finals? Here are your 4 choices. A, big brands, Lakers, Knicks, Celtics.
Yep.
B, best teams, Pacers, Thunder. C, don't care unless it's LeBron or Steph. Or 4, or D, I'm just here for the bets. Got lucky yesterday with Indiana won.
They did. They covered
minus 1.5,
2.5,
2.5.
Yeah,
so,
you won.
Yeah, I did win.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're out here at the Taco Spot, 59th Avenue, and Thunderbird. You got to check them out. We're going to be giving away a street taco party platter with 2 tickets to D-backs and Padres on June 14th. Pull up, grab some tacos, and have some fun. Also presented by Lerner and Rub. We're going to continue to talk some NBA as Tim Kempton will join us, the Suns color analyst, get his thoughts on the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Also get his take on what the Suns need in their next head coach. But first, it's time to check in with Jax for your Taco Spot ESPN 620 update.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's ESPN 620 update from the Taco Spot. I'm Jackson Groff. The Arizona Diamondbacks fall big to the Pirates once again, 10-1. Skeens is the highlight for the Pirates. 7 Ks, 4 hits allowed, while the Diamondbacks struggled in the 5th and 6th inning, allowing 7 runs and 2 late in the 8th. The Diamondbacks will look to bounce back in a couple days as they will face the Nationals on Friday, 3-game series at home, and then at Atlanta for a 3-game series following that. The Taco Spot, your go-to for big flavor and easy catering, feeding a crowd. Try the Street Taco
15.
Platter, 64 tortillas, 4 pounds of meat, rice, and beans, perfect for 10 to 12 people. Or even try the Burrito Platter, 6 big burritos that will feed 10 to 12 people as well. That's the Taco Spot, the tacos to talk about. For a location near you, head to tacospotaz.com.
Join us.
It's time for the Cocoa 5 Suns Hardwood Report. Remember, Cocoa 5 is your go-to electrolyte-packed active hydration drink, perfect for athletes and active individuals of all levels and ages. Whether you're hitting the court or working out in the gym, Cocoa 5 helps you stay hydrated and ready to perform at your best. You can grab it at Fry's, Sprouts, Target, Walmart, and at Cocoa5.com. Now let's jump right into the latest updates and highlights with the Suns.
Halliburton. They went with McBride on Halliburton and now switching everything. Shot clock at 3. Halliburton for 3. Well, that was deep, but Brunson got it up, anticipating
All right, Halliburton, 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, and 0 turnovers. First ever turnover-free triple-double in playoff history. Tim Kempton now joins us. So, Tim, does this officially make him a superstar? Is he pretty much there?
Well, he's definitely stepping up when the brightest lights are on, and that's when you want you want your biggest stars to do it. So he came into the league with a lot of fanfare, kind of developed into this player. Wasn't as good when he first got here. A lot of people were like questioning him, and then obviously in a smaller market of Indiana doesn't get as much publicity as the other guys that came out with him and have been in the league. But he seems to be playing very well for him right now. So he's a star and a superstar in the making if he keeps on doing this in the playoffs and the championship series.
Is there anyone you can compare him to? A guy that, has a turnover-free triple-double, that style of play? Is there anyone that
I don't know. I mean, he takes care of the ball, which is always very nice. That was one of the things that the Suns were looking for when they went out and got Tyus, is because he's so good at not turning the ball over at that point guard position, because it's been such a struggle for the Suns. So to have him have those kind of numbers with the kind of pressure and the way the whistle is being blown in the playoffs is pretty impressive. It shows his composure. It shows his his mental toughness in regard to the game, and just the physical attributes of understanding what the defense is doing, what they're trying to take away from him, and just being solid passing the ball as well and handling it.
Well, I think also, Tim, when you watch him defensively, he may not get enough credit. He had 4 steals last night, but I think that may be one of the more underrated sides of his game, because I think the offensive side is so much more profound.
Yeah, he does a real nice job. Again, he's got some length, so he kind of goads you into a pass, and then his length, he steps in and takes it away, and they're just really connected right now. So not only is it him coming up with the steal, but it's the way Indiana as a group is playing defense that's forcing the Knicks back on their heels to make poor decisions. So his steals are the byproduct not only of his defense, but the defense that Indiana's playing as a whole, as a group, as a team.
Tim Kempton's our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Jimmy, Rick Carlisle had won a NBA title with Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas. Then he takes the Indiana Pacers job, and here we are today. One of the things that I particularly noticed, and please explain to everybody if you see this as well, when you talked about the defense of the Pacers, the way that they quickly double team against Brunson right at midcourt, and they try to force the ball out of his hand and try to get the Knicks out of their offensive rhythm immediately. Have you seen that as well?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about teams pressuring here in the playoffs. It's hard to do on an 82-game schedule. You just, the back-to-back situations night after night of playing. But in a postseason, when you've got the same people that you're going up against, and you can devise a plan, and if they don't make changes to it, that's what everybody talks about in the postseason, is who's going to make adjustments. And right now the Knicks aren't making adjustments to it. They don't have someone else bringing the ball up so Brunson can catch it on the move and score after they get it over half court. They're so, he's so much needs the ball in his hands, not only as the Knicks as a team, but for his own confidence, for the own way that he plays. He doesn't like being off the ball. So right now Indiana's making him pay for it and really shutting him down. And that's another example of this situation. I think last night it was 29-17 in the assist category. And it's right now, you look at both series, you look at Minnesota, that's Randall and Anthony Edwards. In the Knicks series, it's Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson for the teams that are on the back side of it right now. Those guys are more isolation teams where Oklahoma City as well as Indiana, they're more of a move the ball, get everybody involved. Tonight it could be your night if the shot, if the Knicks happen to be giving someone open shots. So I think that plays into it as well, is that the Knicks are so dependent on Jalen Brunson with the ball, and Indiana's making them, as you said, uncomfortable as soon as he gets to the half-court line.
He's Tim Kempton here on ESPN 620. All right, let's turn the page over to the Western Conference. What's wrong with Anthony Edwards, or is this the Anthony Edwards that we're going to see? Seems like there's been so much talk.
First of all, you got to give credit to Oklahoma City. That's another thing that I think the difference between both series is Oklahoma City and Indiana have deeper teams. You know, when we were talking about Minnesota a couple of weeks ago playing against the LA Lakers, it was Minnesota that had the deeper team. They went, 6, 7, maybe 8. But now you go to this series and it's Oklahoma City over Minnesota. Oklahoma City has 8, 9, 10, where Minnesota's only got that 8. So there's more depth. There's more physicality. There's more players that they're able to throw at Anthony Edwards. Obviously, you start with Luguentz Dort, who is, just as strong. You don't find many people as strong as Anthony Edwards at that position, but he's looking at a guy that's probably physically more capable than himself. Obviously, he's athletic, but Luguentz Dort is just as strong, just as big, and if not stronger than Anthony Edwards. So I think the physical toll is taking it a little bit away from Anthony Edwards. And again, they're not getting any easy buckets. They have to come down and fight through, an offense, a defense that's set up and waiting for them. They're not getting enough easy buckets. And then in essence, they turned the ball over. Oklahoma City, I think, was the best team in the league, scoring off of turnovers this year. So they're not getting easy buckets, and the defense is really making Anthony Edwards and Carl Anthony Towns. Julius Randle in that series really work for what they get, and it's just physically taxing on him, and I think it's showing up in his numbers at the end of the game.
All right, Tim, the head coaching search for the Suns. I know you don't have a say in it, but there's some pretty big names, assistant coaches that are out there. Do you like the route they're going down this road with assistant coaches?
Yeah, I think they're taking their time. Obviously, last year they had one guy in mind, and they went after him and got it done a lot quicker. Obviously, you have a new GM, so Brian Gregory's going about it in a different way, taking more of his time, interviewing guys, seeing what's out there, seeing what he knows about one guy, finding out something that he doesn't know about one or two guys. And I think there's still a couple of guys that are involved in the playoff series that they'd like to talk to, sitting on some of the benches of these last 4 teams. So I think that has something to do with it as well.
And with all that being said, Tim, it will be all about the culture, the philosophy, or somebody that can stand up to whatever stars are remaining on this team.
Yeah, I think all those things are going to be talked about. I think, that the roster could be ever changing, before and after they hire a coach. Obviously, I think it's still centered around Devin Booker, which I am totally fine with. I think Devin has shown that, and because of his age. Obviously, there's also the salary cap situation that they have to deal with. So there's a lot to be talked about, and questions answered from both sides. I mean, that new coach coming in wants to know what Brian Gregory's going to do in regard to the roster. Who am I going to have to play with? What are we up against with the salary cap? So I think there's questions to be answered on both sides of the table in that.
Hey, Roc, could you hear me by chance?
Down.
Kim, I'll leave you with this. What percentage would you put on KD returning?
On who returning?
KD, Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I'm just a percentage.
Like 50%, 60%, he'll come back. I mean, you can't go wrong with 50. Safe there.
You know what? Usually I'm a little bit more vocal, but I'm going to take the easy way out and go 50-50 50-50 on you guys today.
Okay. That high, huh,
He's
Tim?
a vet.
Yeah,
he
he
gets it. He's a pro. I get it. Yeah, but you
No, I think it goes along with that last question you asked as to who's the coach, and what those conversations are with Brian Gregory and when they narrow that coaching search down. Do you have a coach that goes, hey, listen, I'm fine with you dealing Kevin Durant. Hey, listen, if I'm your guy, I'd really like to see Kevin Durant stay here. I think those are the questions that are still out there to be answered and asked again by both sides. And that's why I think having the coach be part of that decision making is so important, and that's why I think it's getting stretched out, because they're still waiting on guys that are on benches in the playoffs. So I really do think it's 50-50 for those reasons.
Tim, always appreciate your time, man. Have a good week. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
That's Tim Tempton, brought to you by Coco 5. He's a part of our Son's Hardwood Report. Check it out at grocery stores around the country. That's Coco 5 and online at coco5.com. Right here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Rock for RightToyota.com. At Right Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them.
Best law firm.
Pissed off at my company.
Here's the 1-0.
See if Tyler can get a good pitch.
Well, he did, and he crushed it over the left field wall for a solo home run. And the D-backs not going to be shut out here tonight. It's now 10-1.
Oh, and that's how it finished. How about that? They get beat by the Pittsburgh Pirates at home
again
against two aces. It's not like you had your 6 and 7 starter and they're facing them. You had your ace yesterday who
Corbin
pitched well,
Burns. Yeah, he
and then
did.
today Zach Allen who didn't pitch that well.
Nope.
But the Pirates had Skeens today, and he's arguably one of the best pitchers
He was
in baseball,
money.
and he was on. So.
Yep.
Hey, we are at the Taco Spot, 59th Avenue in Thunderbird, and we are giving away 2 tickets to the Diamondbacks Padres game on Saturday, June 14th. We're also giving a platter of food as well. We've had 2 different winners, and our first winner was Mary M. Period 903. That's her. That's her Instagram, and she won the street taco platter.
Woohoo!
And then our Diamondbacks ticket winner is at Shane the Cowboy Inc. Shane the Cowboy Inc. is our winner of the D-back tickets, and that is the Cattell Marte Silver Slugger Cap Night at Chase Field. So part of the party at Chase Field. So I want to thank the Taco Spot, of course, here. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. We do a lot of stuff with the Taco Spot, over 20 locations. They're opening them up all the time, and we'll be giving away a big screen TV here next month, too. We're going to be starting that Texan win, so we'll have that going as well. But as we finish up shop here, as we always do, we did our Learner Row 1 call, and that was, of course, what you just heard. Not good. But let's get to our State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question of the day. Which would you rather watch in the NBA Finals? Big brands, best teams, you don't care unless it's LeBron or Steph, or I'm just here for the bets. What was our results?
Everybody got the results?
You have one thing to do.
I don't have Twitter anymore.
Why not?
My Twitter's down.
Get a new one.
I'm trying.
Why don't you just follow our page?
I literally thought this was Manuch's segment.
It is. It's like Manuch's clipboard report.
Yeah,
it's got nothing.
Yeah, but
it's just falling apart.
I've been relying on you, Jackson.
Well, Jackson's leaving. Jackson's got 2 more days with us, and he's going on to work for Colin Cowherd.
That short time. Then Jimmy's is down. Mine's down.
I got it. I got it.
Thank you.
Which question do you want? You want to set up the question, and then I'll give the answer, Manuch. So you set up the first one.
Let's just do that first one. What would you rather watch in the NBA Finals? A would be the big brands, Lakers, Celtics, Knicks. B, best teams, Pacers, Thunders, Wolves, etc. C, don't care unless it's LeBron or Steph. Or D, I'm just here for the bets.
The number 1 pick is best teams at 75%, followed by only care about LeBron and Steph, and big brands at 12.5%. 0% just here for the bets. Come on. Come on.
All right, here's what's on tap, presented by the Orangedale Lounge. The countdown is on. The Orangedale Lounge is opening in about 3 weeks. North Scottsdale's newest dive bar, cold drinks, chill nights, and the home of the OD Mug Club, where you can score a 22-ounce custom mug, drink specials, bragging rights all year. We're opening soon here. They are opening soon at Thompson Peak and Bell. You can follow them on at OD Scottsdale.
You know a guy?
That's just weird. Am I allowed to promote my own bar?
Yeah, you're in the deal.
Right.
Yeah,
It's your bar. I'm just a partner in it.
I know.
It's not like it's not my bar, but it's
Orangedale Lounge.
You will see. Manuch and I used to do a show from my man cave, and it was like the Dan Patrick show.
Awesome.
All that memorabilia. A lot of that will be at the Orangedale.
Very nice.
I like it.
The video games, all that stuff too.
That was what a great man cave we had there.
It was a great man getting 2 men in a truck.
and the thing about that was during the COVID era.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So we were there isolated, and but we were relative radio. You got it there. Radio's relative.
It wasn't relative. No, we were. That's not the word. It wasn't relative.
What
does it mean that you were not relevant? It was where you were.
Your information.
You were open, car dealerships were open. There were certain things that
you were
got
an
passed.
information center.
Now there was a word for it.
We'll figure it out.
Damn it. Anyway, so here's what's on tap. Western Conference Finals Game 7, Timberwolves at the Thunder. That's going to tip off at 5:30 on ESPN. The spread is Thunder minus 8.5.
Wow.
NHL playoffs in the Eastern Conference, Game 5. The Panthers currently lead the best-of-7 series 3-1. They're aiming for their 3rd consecutive Stanley Cup final appearance. That's on 5 o'clock on TNT. Think about that. No one even talks about the Florida Panthers.
No.
But they're about to get to their 3rd straight finals.
They
which
won last
is
year.
Remarkable. Yep.
Yeah.
And then they lost the year before that to Vegas.
Yep.
And I know Canada's got to be rooting for Edmonton to get there, number one.
Well, sure.
And then finally win one afterwards since 1994.
93.
93.
Ironically,
Montreal,
ironically, it was Florida who beat Edmonton last year.
Yep.
To win the cup.
Yeah, and they won 4-3. It was great.
Yeah,
It went
it was
7.
great. Yes.
I mean, the MVP was Connor McDavid for Edmonton.
Yeah.
Normally it's a player for the team that won.
Right.
So here they go. They'll see if they can get that rolling again. So that's what's on tap tonight on the tube. So I'm sure Cox 34 will have the replay if you want to watch this game today.
Why?
Well, I think you want to watch. If you want to watch Paul
Why?
Skeens, if you're
you're a Pittsburgh fan. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
he was terrific. 7 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody, went 6 2/3 innings.
Yeah, and then the implosion that happened. Here you go. You got in that 6th inning, 5-run score, and then to top it off, you get 2 more in the 8th by this Pirates team. And again, a couple more errors. And Torey Lovello talked about those errors.
Yep.
In that, the mental side of those kind of things. You got the day off tomorrow, and then you got the Nationals coming in for a 3-game set before you go on the road and take on the Atlanta Braves. And you're on the road for a good 6-game series. I should say 6-game series, 6 games that you're going to go on the road, and it's going to be tough sledding on the road. Thinking about that, you got to go into Atlanta, who's they're getting there slowly.
They're getting back into it.
Yeah, Cincinnati, they're in the swing of
hunt.
things.
Yeah.
Seattle, and then San Diego, Toronto. You don't have any kind of even when you say cupcake or patsy.
You mean the White Sox?
The Rockies, not till June 20th.
Or the Rockies.
So you're 3 weeks away. So it's going to be some baseball where a lot of these teams are starting to either hunker down a little bit, get themselves settled to where they don't start falling back behind not only of their divisional races, but their wild card races. So right now, you look at the Diamondbacks, where they probably 6.5, 7 back now.
Yeah.
Now, on top of that, they're 7 back. They're, as of today, they were 7 back of the wild card game as well, too.
So this isn't good for Coyote fans, thinking that the Coyotes were going to come back.
Oh.
Former
3
Coyotes
minutes.
owner, Alex Morello, has sold his Paradise Valley mansion for a whopping $30 million. Wow. It's a 9-acre estate. They bought it just 4 years ago. For guess how much? $12.1 million, and he's selling it for $30. This guy, whatever he touches, he makes money.
He makes money.
He got $1 billion
by
selling the team.
Yeah.
Right in 24 in April. And then he gets this deal, $30 million.
He doubled his money on the real estate.
Yeah.
15 bedrooms, 16 bathrooms, 2,200 square feet, including a 15,000 square foot main house, 2 smaller guest residents, gated, has over 100 olive trees, 20 fruit trees, and a 1,900 square foot greenhouse. I don't know who bought it, but somebody just gave him $30 million.
2 minutes.
Maybe a Devin Booker with that max extension coming up, where he'll collect $75 million a year. You got to put that money to use, right, Jim? Sooner or later.
I'm telling you right now, Rock made a great
$30 million estate.
Alex, he came in here and he cleaned house.
He sure did.
He made out
so much money.
He did.
I mean, he did so well in that deal. He took over a team that was struggling.
Yep.
He got it for nothing. And loses money, plays in a little arena, packs it every night, and then sells it for $1 billion.
Yeah,
$1 billion.
I think back of some of those guys that go into a company and they tear it down on purpose, and then they sell it for a ton, and they do exactly what they wanted to do because he wasn't paying rent. So the city of Glendale basically kicked him out of the arena.
That's what they wanted.
Thank God there was Mullet for him to go to. In the meantime,
1 minute.
minimal. And then he decides, well, let's try to go to Tempe, which got shot down. But I think their effort to sway those constituents was weak at best. So it's almost as if, and I'm just saying, in my opinion, might have been orchestrated from the get-go. We bought this to sell this thing off.
That's a fair assessment. I think you could easily make a case for that.
Yeah.
He's a businessman.
Yep.
He saw this dying organization in a huge market.
Yes.
he probably got a little somebody in his ear. Hey,
30
why don't you
seconds.
go in there? You got the money. You're a real estate guy. You're a gambler. You know
Sell off the
casinos.
pieces.
And then you're gonna make $1 billion.
And he did.
$1 billion. Anyway, thank Taco Spot for having us. For Taco Spot near you, go to the Taco Spot AZ, and you can check them out. But we appreciate them having us here.
10
Normally,
seconds.
it's a Tuesday. Tomorrow, we'll be out of Twin Peaks Camelback. For the guys here, I'm Rock. Have a great night. We'll see you back here 1 o'clock tomorrow.